Thank you. Enjoy the game.
And yet again, magnificent respect shown from the crowds across the football this weekend. Quentin Hull, Michael Price, Jamie Stanton and Matt Primus in the box, about to bring you Gold Coast and Sydney, where there are no late changes here. Connor Buderick will play as the sub for Gold Coast, and for Sydney, Tom Hanley will wear the sub's vest. So the Suns at selection, no change to the team that lost to Richmond last week, while for Sydney, Sam Wicks was named in the original squad on Thursday, but he joined Joel Hamling as changes to the team. Wicks out injured, Hamling omitted. Ben Patton and Peter Laddams coming into the team that lost to Port Adelaide by 8 points at the SCG. As the Catafalque party departs and the Anzac ceremony is completed, let's get down to Zane Bojak, who has the pleasure of being on the boundary line to bring us all the news from the benches this afternoon. Zane, welcome to you.
Hello, Q. Absolutely fantastic conditions. Great to have blue skies above because it's been quite a wet week in Queensland. Would you believe it's been 1,464 days since the Suns have been able to beat the Swans on their home soil here. Goes back to round 6, 2021. They have had one win since then, but it's a 3-game losing streak to the Swans. And given what happened last week against Richmond, they would love to knock off last year's grand finalists and put themselves well back in the frame for that first ever final series. The surface is superb. Wonderful ceremony that we just saw, and all I can say is bring on the footy.
Good on you, Zane. We'll stay close during the game. Matt and Jamie, let's go through a couple of the key matchups and just a general feel about this game. I reckon this has come at a perfect time for the outside footy world to learn something about both teams today.
Yeah, absolutely. I think last year the Suns would have some bad losses, especially well documented their games away from home. But as I mentioned earlier, can they bounce back with their maturity? They played poorly last week. Mentally, they weren't ready to play and they copped their loss. Can they bounce back at home? And if they want to play finals, this is the game you have to win. And Sydney are really struggling. As I said, they've got some injuries, yes, but they've just been clunky all year. They've had a good quarter, then they've had a poor couple of quarters. They're under the pump big time. And if they lose today, that gap, the top 8 team, starts to widen dramatically.
I'm really looking forward to see how Sydney bounce back. Sam Wicks off the half-back line has been disappointing with his defensive actions, but his offensive action has been quite impressive and has been a Dean Cox move. And Sam Powell-Pepper did a fantastic job on Nick Blakey last week, which is a massive driver of Sydney's ball movement. And as we're well aware, Sydney want to move the ball off the half-back through Blakey. So he's probably the number one player Gold Coast need to shut down today to solidify Sydney's lower ranking spot on the ladder.
And that makes that late change from Thursday's team with Wicks not being able to get up and play today even a little bit more pertinent for that part of the ground that you spoke about, Jamie. So Sunday footy on ABC Sport will be played in front of about 16,000 fans. It is a pretty warm day. Gorgeous for footy, and let's hope we get a really good contest. Gold Coast 4 wins, 1 loss. Sydney 2 wins and 4 losses. If you want to get in touch throughout the day, we'd love to hear from you. 0437 774 774 is the number. 0437 774 774, and immediately Noah Anderson's just decided to give Isaac Heaney a shove, Pricey, underneath the bounce, which will be contested between Witts and Grundy. Let's play Sunday footy.
So we're into the middle of Carrara. Perfect bounce to start proceedings. Grundy gets it down to Rowbottom, who won the toss. They're kicking to the southern end, and they do so through Rowbottom. Gets the clearance. Bounces inside 50. Francis tries to juggle it. Taps it to the arc. Suns turn it over. Weller gave it to McAndrew, then to Anderson at left half back. He gives it back to Noble under a lot of pressure. Outside of the boot to the wing. Nicely spoiled away from Blakey. Florent picks it up. Gets absolutely hammered into the ground. Ball stuck underneath several. Just as the shade from the stands comes across the contest, umpire will come in and ball it up just forward of the wing.
Tossed in the air. Grundy palms down beautifully to Rowbottom. Rush clearance for the Swans to half forward, but Powell's in the way to mark for Gold Coast on his chest. Kicks to right half back. Holman takes the grab in space, plays on with the handball to Hewlin. Run down by Bice. Good tackle. And the umpire says, holding the ball. Riley Bice, one of the stories of the season. The former Ovens and Murray best and fairest. Here for the Swans, winning that free kick. Short pass marked by Rampy, 70 from goal. Hand passes to Jordan. Hands it wide to Lloyd. Hands it into the pocket. It's picked up by Cleary. Cleary's kick on goal is marked right on the goal line by Noble. or was it beyond the goal line? Goal umpire and field umpire will have a discussion. Not sure whether that was a pass or a shot. Campbell was in the vicinity for the Swans. And the Ark gets an early run.
Very early, I know that probably wasn't an intercept mark, but they've taken 2 marks as Suns defenders. That's going to be a thing for the Swans' key forwards to make sure they don't get intercept marks, because the Suns can counter-attack as good as anybody in the competition.
And if this ends up being a goal, absolute coach killer.
Yeah. Surely it's
Noble's marked that, I think.
Yeah.
So only a quick look. I think they were double checking that he controlled it before it went beyond the goal line as well, to ensure it wasn't over behind. So mark to John Noble in the last line of defence. And we're still to get a score after 2 minutes.
So he takes off outside the goal square now. Bounce, couple of bounces in fact. Gets to long towards the wing, looking for Andrew, who was late to the contest, ended up affecting it, did well, tried to pick it up, was tackled off the ball, and it was tackled around the leg there by Francis. So Mac Andrew will get a free kick, just short of centre wing on the Nerang River side of Carrara, bathed in beautiful sunshine, 28 degrees today. Magnificent day for footy. Long kick down the line. Witts versus Grundy. It was in fact spoiled by Melican. Rove there by Touk Miller. Got the handball back to Holman. Tried to get it back to Miller. Pressured off it by Heaney. In fact, that's a great contest from Miller. Extracted the ball. Got it to Witts. Handball there to Ainsworth. Gave it back there to Rowell. Inside 50. Big contest coming. King couldn't quite get it. It spills wider now. There's a chance for the Suns. Good handball from Weller. Through the chain now. Powell from the pocket. The left foot snap, one behind. First score of the game comes after 3 minutes. One behind to the Suns.
That's Suns football, third in the competition for handballs. They're going to handball the ball around, which gives the Swans good opportunity, but if they're not good with their pressure, they'll get lots of shots.
Bice with an inbound long to left half back, hoping for McCartan to run it down, and he does, just before the boundary line. Fine space to kick along the Nerang River wing. 2-on-2 out there at pitches in front of that quartet of players, and seen over the boundary line by Francis, who's starting today and starting forward after that move was pulled, and it turned out too late in the game at the SCG last week. Kicked 3 last quarter goals, but Port was still able to get the points in Sydney. Boundary throw in, outer wing. Bobbles around, Jordan's tackled by Miller. Now who's on who there? At the moment it was Miller on Jordan, usually it's the other way around. That's another ball up.
Yeah, I think Jordan's trying to get to Rao. Obviously his stoppage numbers are through the roof and they're trying to pay some attention to him inside.
Umpire throws it up. Grundy got it down. It was taken there by Bailey Humphrey for the Suns. He scrubs it to right half forward. Long, nicely picked up. His handball cut off by Jordan. Taken high. The umpire says play on though. Ball stuck underneath. Rao comes in, extracts the ball now, wheels around onto his left foot. He kicks it inside 50. At the back, Reid, but that's a good mark, Melican. Double grabber, nice defensive mark from the Swans as they play on.
Hand passes to Lloyd, Lloyd to Blakey, just forward of full back, kick to right half back. Hayward presents, well spoiled by Powell. Ball on the deck, McCartan gathers well though for the Swans. Hand passes through Campbell to Francis, who's short of the wing. Francis's kick, half volleyed, well picked up though by Hayward, gives it back to Francis. He hand passes back to McLean. McLean's on the wing for Sydney, runs in field. His hand pass turned over, pinched by Powell of the Suns. But McLean follows up, Powell hand passed it on, and Graham was tackled by McLean, so he turned it over, but he did the job to win the free kick.
McLean's kick was pretty ordinary. He went laterally towards Chad Warner, who made it look very good. Got around Powell too easily. Nice kick towards Rowbottom, just short of right half forward.
Got a spare deep if he goes long.
That deep in the pocket. He's going for that longer kick. And oh, that's a very good mark. Under enormous pressure. Oh, he's a champion player, is Isaac Heaney. That was a monster effort of a spoil, but he took it just beside the point post.
Fantastic ball movement by the Swans, and it's back to their 2024 version of how they want to move the ball by maintaining possession, going from one end to the other with that rebound 50 style.
What an incredible contested mark there from Isaac Heaney. In the right forward pocket, he's facing inboard, wants to curl it around with the left. He's hit the fat side of it, gone across the face, and one behind result. So it's 1 point apiece with nearly 6 gone in the first term.
Noble short with the inbound. Anderson takes the mark. Kicks to the back pocket. Collins has space to mark and stroll on. The big defender walks to 50. Now booms a kick to the wing. Humphrey in front. Beats Roberts. Takes a contested mark for Gold Coast on halfway. Kick inside 50 is a bullet to the chest of King. hugs it to his chest, takes the mark 40 metres out.
He's
And-
got caught off zoning there, the Swans defenders, and Gold Coast kicking efficiency was far too good to be able to pick them out.
He looks set for a big year, Ben King. 18 goals already. 55 last year. Now beyond the 100-game mark. First assignment for the day for Ben King. Be pretty much right on 50. 45-degree angles right. Right foot kick from Ben King to the big screen end. He's kicked it beautifully. It's the first goal of the afternoon. And the Suns spearhead salutes. 1-1 to 1 behind. Gold Coast lead it through 7 minutes. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Jamie Stanton and Matt Primus, your experts today.
Matt, you took the words right out of my mouth. You spoke about earlier around Sydney's been really clunky through quarters. Part of that is because they're struggling to understand Dean Cox's new ability and the way they want to defend the ground. We're watching the game, and you guys are listening to Q and Pricey call it. Is the defenders actually want to trade up the field as the ball gets switched, and in that moment in time, Melican got caught in between trading up and hanging on his player in Ben King, and Bailey Humphrey uses really good disposal to find the free player.
Yeah, it's un-Sydney-like, isn't it? They've been able to expose coast to coast, and the Suns are the best kicking team in the competition, but that's about 3 or 4 times now they've been able to rebound the ball out of their back 50, the Suns, and go inside 50, and they look very dangerous.
So back into the middle of Carrara. Grundy versus Witts. Witts comprehensively gets this one out wider. Chad Warner imposes himself. Gets his foot to the ball, kicks it to half forward as a contest. Jeffrey was spoiled. Now it's across the arc for Sydney. Swans player taken high. Umpire said no. The ball stuck underneath. He'll come in. It was Braden Campbell, I thought, was taken above the shoulder, but the umpire's going to just throw it up on the arc. At left half forward for the Swannies. Warner off hands. And that's a tumbling kick inside. Laddams had the front position. And that was the important part of that scrambled kick. Took it 20 metres out, more or less directly in front.
Yeah, both Laddams and Francis will have big jobs to do. They're key forwards, and we know Collins and Mac Andrew and those guys love intercepting the ball, but just a quick kick out in front, very simple, but geez, Warner started very well. Warner and Rao, when they're going head-to-head inside the middle, that's impressive to watch.
It's a couple of quality footballers there. Laddams from 25 metres out, pops it through. First goal for the Swans, 1-1-7 apiece now. It is 9 minutes gone to the first term. Sunday afternoon footy on ABC Sport.
You spoke about there, Matt, in terms of the Gold Coast midfield has been absolutely killing it over the past couple of weeks and shown their stoppage class. The Sydney midfield has been really struggling, so their job today is to match and raise their intensity and effort to where Gold Coast is to allow things like that to happen. That's just very simple forward craft by Laddams there, playing in front, and Dimmer would probably be a little bit disappointed with Mac's effort, just standing in behind.
And the Sydney marketing team stealing the Charlie's Angels line of Love the Chad, with Chad Warner a part of that goal creation, re-signing through until 2027 at least, so only a 2-year extension. It'll quell the discussion of the move home west for a while, but still a young man at 23 years of age, Chad Warner. Centre bounce, whistle, favouring Sydney. Heaney started forward, Matt, and he's gone into the middle now. A bit of both. Sort of centre bounce work and then going forward. No one really marking him. So he plays on, kicks inside 50 and an uncontested mark to McLean. Got a whack off the schnoz as well. Is that 50 metres?
Yep.
It was a loose, late left hand from Rioli. And McLean had marked at 30 metres out anyway, but now he's taken to point blank range. And this will be Sydney's second goal off the back of, a face massage gone wrong from Dan Rioli. Top of the goal mouth, McLean kicks the goal, and bang bang, the Swans have got a couple to answer that opener to Gold Coast. 2-1 to 1-1, Sydney in front, 10.5 played Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Yeah, I'm not sure the kick was meant. I think he was trying to bang it long and make a contest and come off the side of his boot, but I think they have to kick like that inside 50 more, lower their eyes a little bit more. I think if they bang away, that'll suit the Suns' tools, and then when it hits the ground, that's advantage to them. So that kick of lowering their eyes and putting a little bit, not as much height on the ball, I think it's going to be really important for the Swans mids and half-backs today.
Especially when they have more of a smaller grade. They pretty much only have Hayden McLean as an out-and-out forward, and Francis as a more of a swing man, and Peter Laddams as a legitimate ruckman. They really do need to make sure those hit those small 45 darts.
So Noah Anderson moves on to Isaac Heaney in the middle of the ground. Grundy versus Witts. That's a free kick, and it'll go.
Grundy.
Go to Brody Grundy against Jared Witts. Crowd didn't like it, but Grundy now plays on, wheels around onto his right foot. That's a long kick inside 50. The pack spoiled there by Sam Collins, front and square. Was turned over by Holman, picked up by Heaney. And once again it was smothered off the boot by Graham. Picked up there by Grundy. His handball's just loose. It was James Jordan who was bumped off the ball. That was a legitimate bump, and the umpire has called it a high shot. In fact, it was Corey Warner who wore that one. And at 45 metres out directly in front. Like your opinion on that one, guys? It looked like a bump to me.
Bit of theatrics, but you don't mind it, do you? We're an entertainment business, Pricey, not a sport business, right?
Just discussed this, absolutely. Corey Warner, the younger of the pair, will launch this one from the arc of 50, directly in front. He starts his run up from inside the centre square. Man standing the mark, 45 out. He lets loose a long left footer. That is superb. Swans get their third. 3-1-19 plays 1-1-7. We've played 12 and a half minutes of this first quarter at Carrara.
Yeah, just a great start by the Swans in some of the simple things. Winning +4 in the contest, +5 in clearances, and that is the Suns' strength. It normally gives them good territory as the crowd has a look at the replay, but they're just doing the basics well here and giving their forwards good look, and then they're first into the ball, and that's how they kick the last 3 goals.
Very workmanlike performance at the moment from the Swans, which is very reminiscent of the 05-06 grand final teams. Maybe not so many stars, but they definitely go grunt and hard at the contest. So maybe Dean Cox has pulled out some old tricks over the week.
Well, plenty of times Paul Roos on the ABC AFL podcast has spoken about the different DNA, how the Swans probably drifted away from that Bloods culture over the last couple of years, and needs a bit of a readjustment, and that's a part of the new era of Dean Cox. Good start for the Swans here, and a clearance from the centre bounce as Jordan picks up defensive side of the pack. High kick puts Sydney into attack again. Collins leaves his man, can't take the chest mark. McLean to rove in the pocket for Sydney. Picks up, hands to Hayward, hands it to McInerney, hands it out the back. Lloyd's got a moment to steady from 50, kick long to goal, but Noble's back there for the Suns and marks it near the score line again for the second time. John Noble's had a mark near the score line, and both field and goal umpire have said, no, John, you cannot play on. We don't know whether you've marked that or if that's a score.
Very early, but 5-zip to the Swans in the centre bounce, and that's given them these good looks. Can they defend this deep ball here, whether it's a kick-in or a mark to Noble?
First replay we got from the arc was obscured by the padding of the post. We were looking from far major upright through the second of the uprights. It's definitely it's definitely not a goal because it's not gone through the middle. It's a question of whether Nobles controlled the mark before the ball went beyond the scoreline.
I know these cameras are very expensive, but is it worth just putting one in the goalpost facing the behind angles as well, just to speed this up?
Or have a little bit of extra cash in the bank.
Just a bit.
Or if there is not a good view, just go back to the goal umpire's call. The goal umpire is in perfect position.
What did he signal? Did he?
I think he signaled.
It's a juggle.
So it's a point. No mark to Noble. So that's a point to Sydney, I think. I'm just waiting for it to come up on the big screen. Yep. Swans 3-2-20, Suns 1-1-7. 15 minutes played. You're hearing Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
See how they go defending this kick in here.
So Noble feigns to go left and then pops it into the right back pocket. It's with Joel Jeffrey in Northern Territory. Kicks long down the outer wing. Graham, oh, what a good mark. Roberts flew across the front of Will Graham there and took a magnificent one-clunk grab. Good footballer, this kid, Matty Roberts. He puts it forward. Just no movement there as Jordan plays on. Kicks it again into the forward pocket for Sydney, a 3-on-1. And Francis was monstered in that contest. Punched over the boundary line. We'll get a throw in. Left forward pocket, Zane Bojak's on the boundary.
What's more impressive, guys, the mark that Matty Roberts just took with a beautiful sink he's got across that nose of his.
It is a Gold Coast Sunday, Zano. You're right. He's got a white zinc emblazoned across the bridge of his nose. Throw in the pocket with Sydney in attack. No clearances. Collins is over the ball and Chad Warner's over him.
Well, us with the ginger tinge in our hair, we do like to put the zinc in.
Hair's overrated. I've had both experiences. Anderson Groves in the back pocket for Gold Coast. Clearing kick, but a rush ball to the middle. Patton picks up for Sydney. Swans have got it again. Ham passes to Roberts. He gives it back to Patton from 60. Kicks to Heaney. And Isaac's got it again. Heaney takes the mark 30 out straight in front.
Yeah, and lowering the eyes and kicking an advantage to a forward rather than bombing away. But even that last inside 50 they had, they played it slow, Price, but get their numbers up, condense the field, make it hard for the Suns to counter-attack because they've got great running power and speed. The Swans early in the game are taking that away from the Suns and playing their brand of footy.
So Isaac Heaney, who had a set shot for a miss earlier on, this a much kinder angle for him. Best and fairest at the club last year, straight in front, right foot kick, and the Swans have started brilliantly at Carrara. That's a fourth goal on the bounce after they conceded the first. Sydney's lead is 19 points, 17 and a half minutes into the game. Sydney 4 goals to 26 to Gold Coast's 1-1-7.
I know I just spoke about Sydney's lack of ability to trade up in the Ben King goal. That was the total opposite. That is exactly when Sydney get it right. They traded up and applied pressure at the source, which then allowed the turnover coming straight through the corridor, which then in turn allowed a nice laser-like kick inside 50 instead of going that long and slow approach that they had to in their previous inside 50.
Yeah, and they're able to do that, Jamie. Spot on. You can do that when you got the team pinned or playing slow football. The previous ones when it was bouncing out of there, you can't do that. Or if you do that, you're going to get caught out. But they've got the game on their terms. 7-2 in clearances, 5-0 in the centre bounce to Sydney.
And 10 inside 50s for 4 goals. They've repaired that goal efficiency as they win another clearance. Rowbottom kicks it at the top of the 50. It's roved there by Hewland. He throws a handball out to Noble. Noble now measures a small pass and finds Ainsworth at right half back for the Suns. Ben Ainsworth 15 metres up the line to Noble in front of Cleary. Crowd were just cheering there as Cleary gave him a little clip across the ear hole.
I think the Sydney fans thought it was a very generous 15 as well.
Yeah, indeed. He plays on, does Noble, kicks it, well, basically to a field of Swans. It was either Rowbottom or Chad Warner. Warner took the mark and he flares it out to the left.
Bit of a shin kick, but Lloyd picks up on the half volley. Short pass marks by McInerney just forward of the wing on the Nerang River side. Blazing sunshine on this Sunday at Carrara.
Happy to hang on to the ball, aren't they? Just want to chip it around.
Taking their time, Matt. Yeah, infield. That was read by Walter, who spoiled the pass intended for Chad Warner. Roved by Rowell of the Suns. Ham passes from Butterick onto Ainsworth, it was, onto Miller. Miller's kick to the pocket. And Rampy spoils away from Long illegally. Free kick to Ben Long.
In the back he paid, Q. And that's just what the Swans don't want to do. They want to get caught in that fast turnover game. That's where the Suns will kill you, and on that occasion they certainly did.
Dane Rampy, what a great servant he has been. From the rookie list to now 258 games, but offending there. And Ben Long, who I think is enjoying the way that Damien Hardwick is setting up this Suns football team. It's his 3rd year on the Gold Coast. He's becoming a really important mid-sized forward. Tough angle here, 40 out in the right forward pocket, near post. Good ride, but he hits the major opening on the near side, behind Sydney by 3 goals. 4-2 to 1-2.
So the Swans through Blakey. That's a spear of a pass to left half back. Oh, he mucked it up, did McCartan. Picked up by Ainsworth. Shoots a handball inside 50. It's with Rogers who kicks it across the face. That's a beautiful pass. To Bailey Humphrey. Oh, played on. Was that touched? No, it wasn't, says the goal umpire. Boy, he took it in the goal square. A couple of Swans descended on him, but he popped it through, did Bailey Humphrey, and gets the Suns' 2nd goal. 4-2-26 to 2-2-14.
That's just unfortunate. Normally Tom McCartan has some really sure hands and takes that mark on the wing from Nick Blakey. But again, that's what happens when a quick transition happens in terms of turnover in Sydney. And Gold Coast are especially good at that forward half turnover, getting it inside 50 quickly and scoring from it. They've been doing it all season long.
Yeah, Coxie, I don't know where he's sitting today. Is he on the bench or up in the box? But he'd be pulling his hair because they've got total control of this game and just some It's two simple little mistakes have opened up the door for the Suns to be able to hit back and get some energy back in their game.
And Gold Coast is such a momentum team that this is exactly what you don't want to give them at all, is momentum or energy.
Jamie Stanton and Matt Primus, your experts on Sunday Footy on ABC Sport here at Carrara. 6 goals in the opening term through 21 minutes. Perfect conditions. So if they keep this ball movement up, could be a high-scoring day with the red Sharon slammed into the middle. Grundy taps down brilliantly to Chad Warner at the stoppage. Chad has a bounce on, loses the ball though. He's pressured by Powell, kicks it off the ground, an indiscriminate entry in the end, cleaned up by Andrew of Gold Coast. Kicks to right half back, Noble marks, plays on with a hand pass to Weller. He's chased by Cleary, hand passes infield, has support, gives to Anderson, hand pass to Noble. Defensive side of the wing, a sack, kick to half forward, clean bowls a couple. Roberts is there though for Sydney. Hand passes to McInerney, Swans have got it out the back. Lloyd hands it to Rampy, Rampy back to Lloyd, who finds a path to hand pass to Florent at centre half back.
Florent looks to go to the left, and that is a magnificent kick, and finds Cleary forward of centre wing on the outer side. Cleary into the 50, hits Francis, 45 out, 2 Swans loose inside 50, and Laddams is one of them. He gets hit in the forward pocket, 20 metres out. It's a tight angle to the left.
Yeah, a bit of no medicine back. A turnover, top of the 50, normally the worst spot to turn the ball over, and then they're able to go really quickly via hands and get the outnumber by running hard forward. Terrific work by the Swans, and great pressure through the middle of the ground.
So Laddams kicked the first goal of the game for the Swans at the 9-minute mark from more or less directly in front. This one's a harder ask. From about 40 out, he leans back on it and pushes it across the face. In fact, it's out of bounds on the full. Failed to score. It's the Swans by 2 goals, and the Suns get a free kick in the left back pocket.
But Pricey, not his worst shot for the year.
Saying something.
Jamie, you're a hard mark.
Oh, definitely.
The last one,
Harsh
a couple of
but
weeks
fair.
ago, when it's straight across the other side of the 50 arc.
Power with a long kick in from the left back pocket for the Suns. Target was Walter in the pack. He couldn't take the grab. Ball to ground level. Grundy for the Swans. Tried to tap it to the advantage of teammates. Ainsworth roving at ground level wins a messy ball. It's hacked forward by well, it's out of play at left half forward. Who was it? It was Jake. I'll work that out, Michael. Ethan Reid it was. Took me a moment. Boundary throw in, left half forward for Gold Coast. Ainsworth, hand pass. Missed the target, but bounces back to him fortuitously. Hands it out the back from Rowell onto Miller. Miller kicks to the pocket, 2-on-2, goes beyond the pack. Rolling near the boundary line. Bice first to arrive, couldn't pick up. Melican does, runs a very bold line across the face of goal to create space, and his kick is good.
Wow.
Cleary takes the grab in the left back pocket.
Boy, take your chances there.
Oh,
Yep, flying by the seat of your pants. Lewis Melican there. Now Cleary. Long to the outer wing. Heaney. Oh, at the back of the pack, muscled his opponent in Powell out of it. Roved it and popped one up to Laddams. Kept running. Now Warner goes past Laddams for the handball receive. 1 bounce, 2 bounces inside 50 and dribbles it through for a goal. Great piece of roving there from Chad Warner. And the Swans get another one, 5-2-32 to 2-2-14. It's an 18-point margin with 24 gone in the first quarter.
yeah, and just off a long down the line, a great contested mark. I'm not sure who it was on Mac Andrew, but just to be able to get the contested mark and then the running speed to be able to get forward into a paddock. And then their midfielders are causing them a bit of Heaney and Warner are being able to, whether they're rotating mid-forward, but they've been able to get out. Tuke Miller's chased them a few times inside 50, but yeah, the Dimmer would be disappointed with that one. That was just a nothing ball from Sydney out of their back 50, which turned into running into an open goal.
I feel like Dan Cox might have said bring the mouthguards this week, boys, in terms of their training session. They've really turned up and have won all the contested markers in terms of contested marks, contested possessions. Their clearance rate's really good at the moment. I feel like he might have given them a little bit of a, let's go, boys, we need to really roll up our sleeves here.
7 tackles to nothing. There's the stat for you, Jamie. 7 Swans tackles, none for the Gold Coast. Free kick to Heaney at the stoppage, taken high underneath the pack. Hand passes to McInerney. Another clearance for Sydney. Kick to half forward. Francis can't mark, but brings the ball down and taps to the advantage of Campbell. Hands it to Corey Warner. Hands it to Lloyd. Lloyd from 60 kicks to full forward. Holman leaves his man to knuckle it over the boundary line. throw in with Sydney in attack, but the Swans are certainly on top early. Here's Zane Bojak on the boundary.
And I don't have the stats in front of me, but Matty Primus is one of the game's best ever ruckmen. Do you think that Brody Grundy's getting the better of Jared Witts at the moment? Seems to me from what I'm watching.
Absolutely.
Well, they tangle again here. In fact, it's McLean in the ruck.
Oh, you jinxed him.
Yeah.
McLean then.
It's not Grundy, it's McLean. He's given away a hold and a free kick to Witts in the right back pocket for the Suns. It's Sydney leading by 3 goals.
So Witts, just a 20-metre pass to find Collins, who flares it out to the left to Will Powell. Powell outside the arc to left half back to Jeffrey. Jeffrey across the arc now to Andrew.
A little bit slow method here, Pricey, isn't it?
Absolutely. A long kick from Andrew just beyond centre wing. Walter in the sit position, couldn't quite take it, and that's a high shot. So it was well done there by McInerney for the Swans, who picked it up, was tackled high by Rowell.
He's doing a great job, Pricey, of just getting in first, aren't they? The 3 kicks head high and all those little ones they're getting.
The 50-50s are there because they're getting there first and putting their head over the agate. Well done to Rampy, straight down the middle though, and as soon as you say well done, he turned it over straight down the throat to Jared Witts.
Is it just me or is it a bit bruise-free at the moment, the game? I mean, because the conditions are so good and the skills are so good, there's very good, as I say, skills so good. John Noble shins a kick to the wing, sets a task there of Holman. He's tackled out of play by Heaney.
I think the Suns are playing bruise-free, Q. I reckon Sydney are. They've come to get first the ball and take away the Suns' strengths, but definitely at the moment I don't reckon the Suns are rolling up the sleeves anywhere near compared to what Sydney are.
Well, 8 tackles to 0 for Sydney. Swans lead by 3 goals. Throw in slightly forward of the wing for Gold Coast. Witts tried to control it down to his boot. Stolen by Rowbottom underneath him. Rush kick for Sydney. McLean tangling on the deck with Collins. Collins did well for the Suns. Tapped it to Noble. Hand pass to Holman. Holman's hand pass around the boundary line in tight. Couldn't find Graham. Rowbottom's there to hassle him out. And of course, usually we say Rowbottom here and it's Charlie, your teammate. But no, it's brother James today for Sydney. Jamie Stanton, the teammate of Charlie Rowbottom, here with us on ABC Sport. From the throw-in, Holman roves the pack for the Suns. Under pressure, he pokes a kick towards half forward, which is rolling towards the boundary line and out of play. Crowd oohs and ahs because there's a bit of a tangle at the bottom of that. Patton and Humphrey push each other and slide into the fence, but everyone's okay.
Yeah, a little bit of a hit into the fence from Bailey Humphrey there.
Now, that tackle stat was incorrect. That was the centre, that was the clearance stat that I was giving 8-0.
So it's Rowell gets through
another one.
Almost got through. It was a good tackle by Rowbottom. And so Matt Rowell illegally disposed of the ball. So James Rowbottom at right half back just pops it to the wing, or just slightly overcooked the kick, but Florence got plenty of time to gather it on the bounce and has a bounce himself. Lowers his eyes. That's a magnificent kick to half forward to find McInerney for the Swans. He's only 55 out on a 45-degree angle. Suns have got back in numbers, so he's taking his time, looking for the entry. Pops it up to the lead of Heaney. He cut in front of Aaron Francis and took the mark. And Isaac Heaney, 35 out, tight angle to the right, will have another shot at goal.
God, he's a fantastic mark of the football, isn't he? He just glides and elevates, and it's like he's being held by someone in the air. His elevation and hold pattern is fantastic.
3 centre bounce clearances, 5 score involvements, and already 1 goal won for the term.
He comes in now, Isaac Heaney. From 40, tight angle, he's pushed it to the right all the way, one behind. 33 plays 14. It's a 19-point margin, game high for the Swannies. 30 gone, first term.
Michael Price with you on Sunday Footy on ABC Sport. Dan Rioli is entrusted with the kick in. Chips off a short option. Anderson marks. He kicks to half back. Noble takes the mark. Centre half back and just holds it up for a moment. John Noble now kicks wide to the wing. He's got Weller in space. He takes the mark, but very, very wide out there. Lockie Weller just shy of halfway. Plays on. High kick towards half forward. Blakey's in the hole. Takes the mark easily for the Swans. King was the target, but he arrived very late. Blakey at left half back for Sydney. Chips. Hayward marks. Kicks down the line. Rioli read that. Intercepts the intended target of Corey Warner. Turnover. Suns ball on the wing. Rioli takes a bounce. He's near the boundary. Kicks to full forward. Walter almost flew but couldn't complete the mark. Ball on the ground. Rogers rose for Gold Coast. Hands it to Ainsworth. Tackled off the ball by Rowbottom. Campbell there for Sydney. A 1-2 hand pass exchange with Grundy and Heaney. He's at the back too, and the Swans out of trouble as the chip from McCartan finds McInerney at right half back.
He plays on quickly. That's a lovely ball to the wing. Oh, Francis waited for it. Just a touch too high. Andrew protests, saying, I got all ball there. But the free kick goes to Aaron Francis right in front of the Suns members, you'll hear. He goes backwards. He finds Patton. Back inside defensive 50 to Melican. Now they go laterally, the Swans. It's with Rampy. Rampy takes it out to halfback. They're doing this beautifully to Bice. He takes off, has a bounce. Lovely little left footer. Well, just coming in late was Hewlin, spoiled over the top of Florent. Bounces back into the hands of Florent. He got a handball away. Corey Warner got there first. A little bit of help from Jordan. A couple of Suns come in. Daniel Rioli taps it backwards. Missed his target. Picked up there by Jordan, and a snap off a Suns mistake. The Swans get their 6th goal. And they get around each other, the Swans, and a couple of the Suns looking at each other and look like they're having a few arguments there. 6-3-39, plays 2-2-14. It is a 25-point margin late in the first term, Matty Primus.
Yeah, that's a killer for them, because they didn't look like they wanted to score, the Swans, when they come out of their back 50, happy to hang on to the ball. But even then, that was just, if that had been in the opposite end of the ground, Sydney were the first ones to put their head in the hole, but the Suns there were both looking around, not sure who was going for the ball. Swans just went harder and lower, and that's been the theme of this first quarter. Been an outstanding start for the Sydney Swans on a massive game for them.
And what Damien wouldn't love either is the fact that as soon as that goal happened, about 10 Suns players had their hands on their knees or hands on their hips, bent over, not going to support each other, not going to pick up Rioli, who fumbled. It was all very isolated, insular, negative movements, which is not ideal for a team that's struggling to get going in the game.
Jamie Stanton and Matt Primus with you. And you can sense that the locals are a bit flat here. Now, we haven't got the centre bounce as yet, because Mac Andrew was not too far away from trying to smother that kick from Jordan. He claimed it was touched. So, as much as the arc wasn't called for immediately, the centre bounce has been delayed. Obviously, they're having another look to see if Big Mac's got a fingernail on that. There's only 11 seconds left in the quarter. And everyone's looking around, and we're waiting for an all clear.
The score is confirmed. You can restart play.
Yep, score's confirmed. So Mac Andrew was, well, not correct in his assertions that he touched the ball. 11 seconds left in what's been a very good first term for Sydney. 25 points the lead to the Swans. Grundy to do battle in ruck with Witts. Witts taps out the back for Miller. Rush clearance for the Suns, intercepted by Blakey, who takes the mark to the rush kick from Miller just forward of centre half back. Blakey right on the quarter time siren, kicks forward. Oh gee, I don't think that's a stat to Heaney. It got to him. It would have put another stat in what was a very good first term from the Swans' blonde-headed superstar. And his team have started exceptionally well at Carrara. Last year's beaten grand finalists with only 2 wins from 6 starts have done exactly what they needed to do at the top of this one. 6 goals to 2 in the first quarter for Sydney. And to be precise, it's 6-3-39 to 2-2-14. 25 points is the lead to Sydney. And they're all individual goal kickers. The Warners have got 1 each, 1 to Chad, 1 to Corey. McLean, Heaney, Jordan and Laddams, the others. While Gold Coast's 2 goals kicked by Ben King and Bailey Humphrey. Sydney by 25 points at quarter time. A reminder, this is the first of 3 games that we will bring you on Sunday Footy on ABC Sport today. Carlton and Geelong play at the MCG. That game's about an hour and a half away. And then the East Coast twilight time slot or Western Arvo game is at Docklands between Hawthorn and West Coast. Quarter time at Carrara. Sydney by 25 points. You're hearing Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
ABC iView covers every angle. Insiders.
Who will govern Australia for the next 3 years?
Swingers.
Swing voters are where all the action's at.
And Gruen Nation.
You can trust me.
ABC iView. Always free, always informative.
This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
Humphrey in front. beats Roberts, takes a contested mark for Gold Coast on halfway. Kick inside 50's a bullet to the chest of King. Hugs it to his chest, takes the mark 40 metres out. Right foot kick from Ben King to the big screen end. He's kicked it beautifully. It's the first goal of the afternoon. Heaney started forward, Matt. He's gone into the middle. Now, no one really marking him. So he plays on, kicks inside 50 and an uncontested mark to McLean. Top of the goal mouth. McLean kicks the goal and bang, bang, the Swans have got a couple to answer that. Open it to Gold Coast.
Very workmanlike performance at the moment from the Swans, which is very reminiscent of the 05-06 grand final teams. Maybe not so many stars, but they definitely go grunt and hard at the contest.
Roberts, he gives it back to Patton from 60, kicks to Heaney, and Isaac's got it again. Heaney takes the mark 30 out straight in front. Straight in front, right foot kick, and the Swans have started brilliantly at Carrara.
Daniel Rioli taps it backwards, missed his target, picked up there by Jordan, and a snap off a Suns mistake. The Swans get their 6th goal.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Very warm conditions for the Sunday of round 7 at Carrara. Quentin Hull is my name. It's wonderful to have your company as the Anzac Appeal round concludes today, and Sydney has made a wonderful start here against the Suns. They're looking to make it 4 wins in a row against Gold Coast. Haven't won here though for a while. Sydney by 25 points, kicking 6-3 to 2-2 in the opening term. I'm calling the action with Michael Price, Jamie Stanton and Matt Primus, your experts. And as the huddles take place beneath us, Stando and Matt, I'm wondering what the messages would be from the coaches. We'll start with you, Jamie.
I think Dimma would be really disappointed in the application from the Gold Coast team at the moment. You know pretty much exactly how Dimma wants to play. The way he played at Richmond is the way he wants to play here. He just has a little bit more of the fun toys to play around here at the Gold Coast in terms of skills, but they want to get the ball moving quickly. They want to work hard at the contest, get that forward handball game going, and at the moment they're actually being nullified at the contest and having to play slow ball and rebound off half back, which is nowhere near what Dimma would like or want. So he would be saying, let's get back to basics, let's get back to our game plan, and let's start playing some Suns footy.
Absolutely, Jamie. It's they've just gone to work. The Swans have taken away, as you mentioned, some of the Suns' strengths. We were spoken about at that first quarter, the centre bounce, and then they've been a bit more methodical going inside 50 instead of trying to play quick when they don't have to, and then get some numbers up and then just taking away any of the Suns' run. They've had a couple of times they've looked like it off turnover, but yeah, great coaching preparation so far, but the Swans' Achilles heel so far this year, they haven't been able to play that style of footy for at least 3 quarters, 3.5, which it takes to win a game of footy against another very good team. So will they have a lapse? Will the Suns be able to fire up, and then can the Swans sort of get that their terminology and their style of play going again?
Well, it all starts at the source, as they say. Yeah. So that stat, which I incorrectly go, but it's the centre bounce stats, which was centre bounce clearances. It was 8-0. It's now 8-1 at quarter time. That's
a massacre. Rowell and Witts have been the dominant pair in the AFL, and their whole midfield has. That's just getting purely dominated one-on-one. That's all it is. It's the rucks, and then the mids virtually play one-on-one nowadays in centre bounce. They've just owned them, and some quick kicks, some handball chains, and shots on goal.
Is part of that because Witts isn't getting his hand to the ball first, that the Gold Coast mids are actually playing on advantage side or on the attacking side and getting done in that no man's land space, which allows Sydney to then come through and win a clean clearance?
Absolutely. They like to get it on the fly a little bit, and Witsy normally gets his hand a little bit. Grundy's taken away his time and space, and then they've just turned it into a 50-50 ground ball, and Sydney's craft from their inside mids, especially Heaney and Warner, has been outstanding.
Well, Heaney's got 3 of those centre bounce clearances in a term where he, as I said, had 8 disposals as well, 7 score involvements for 1 goal too. So Lloyd with 8, Heaney 8, 7 possessions for McInerney and Rowbottom. They lead the way for Sydney. Individually, John Noble was busy down back. He had 11 touches. 8 for Ainsworth and 6 for Anderson. And outside of that centre bounce stat, the inside 50s, as expected, well in favour of the Swans. They were +9 in that first quarter, Michael. 17 insides for Sydney, 17 insides for 9 scores. Gold Coast had 8 inside 50s for 2 scores.
And I reckon Walter and Reid, even though they're only 19-year-old kids, they were really poor last week, and I'm not sure their stats, but they haven't really had an influence on the game at all. It's all on King's shoulders to get their scoreboard ticking over.
So we're back into the middle of Carrara. Beautiful day here in southeast Queensland. Bounce is okay. Grundy gets it down. Anderson involved after Humphrey tried to get the ball to him. It's taken there by Heaney at the back of the contest. Now Roberts, the handball forward to Payton. He goes long with his right foot inside 50. It's going to be a big fly, good spoil. Front and square there was Noble. In fact, it was Hewland, got it across to Rioli. Rioli's handball cut off there by Cleary. Cleary taken out of it towards the boundary line. Umpire says nothing doing. It's going to be a throw in the right forward pocket. No, he has. He's pulled that free kick. I thought Cleary was taken without the ball. Suns crowd didn't like it.
Great contest in the air, wasn't it? A long ball, just not to get out marked, bring the ball to ground, and then pressure on the Suns defenders when they want to play a nice running game out of back 50 and gives them a shot on goal.
So he's on an extremely tight angle. In fact, he's standing on the boundary line. Man on the mark, Dan Rioli, 15 metres out. It's a check side kick, and it's pulled a little early, and it's one behind. So it opens up proceedings score-wise in the second term. The Swans 40, the Suns 14. It's a 26-point margin, only a minute gone of the second quarter.
And I'll have a look too. It's sort of Laddams, McLean, Collins, Andrew down there, and whoever's on Mac, I think, is playing deep. He wants to get Andrew out of that marking zone. Good inbound from the Suns. Marked by Hewland at centre-half back. Hands it to Rioli. Plays on, chips the pass to Miller. Marks, he's called to play on. Chad Warner applies to tackle, and he puts Miller's hand pass off, stolen by Heaney. Gives it on to Campbell. Campbell hands to Jordan. Jordan across half-back with a hand pass to McInerney. He shares it across that half-back line. Roberts receives. Kicks out wide to the wing. Holman arrives to make a spoil on Lloyd, and the ball bounces out of play halfway Nerang River side. And see, yep, now there's the change. Laddams is deep, and Collins has gone back to him, and Andrew's gone to McLean, who's high. So just a part of the Magnets moving around between Dean Cox and Damien Hardwick. Boundary throw in out of sight. Holman's going to pick up for Gold Coast. A rushed indiscriminate kick is out of bounds on the full. Free kick will go to Sydney. Out on that sunny side of the ground. Patton to take it.
Sorry, Q, even just that stoppage then, Sydney are really setting up to give the Suns boundary but take away the corridor from them so they can't counter-attack from anything from a stoppage, whether they win or lose the ball.
So Patton went backwards to Rampy at right half back for the Swans, holding things up, looking for his options. Ends up using the left foot to go long down the line. McLean was sort of held off it by Andrew. It bounced over the back of the pack. Andrew scooped it up. Handball to Rioli. Got the 1-2 back, did Mac Andrew. Now he goes laterally. Finds Noble just on the arc of 50 at right half back. John Noble lowers his eyes. It's a lovely pass. Finds Will Graham, the local product, right in front of our commentary box. In the shade too, and he'd like that with 28 degrees. Once again, lowers the eyes and hits Hewland just forward to centre wing. Hewland now. Quick kick to the pocket. Front and square off the hands of Reid. It was long. He puts it across the face of goal. Swans spoil the ball to ground. Ben King gathers. Handball back to Dan Rioli. 45 away. Wheels onto his right foot. Has a long ping and a straight kick. That's what the Suns required. The crowd get behind that. 6-4-40 the Swans. The Suns 3-2-20 back to a 20-point margin.
And it's a small part of how this goal was built up, but that goal doesn't come about unless of the small forward craft work from Ben Long. You spoke about it earlier about him loving Dimmer's system. His craft then of the way he led up, he watched the kick come into Reid, he led up, then did a little spin move and tailed back into that front and centre, and his switch across goal, he wasn't selfish, he made sure he did the team thing, which allowed Dan to kick his goal.
And Rioli, as soon as he was just given a moment, pushing up high from half back, he took it and took it well. 6-4-40 plays 3-2-20. On what is a warm Sunday for football. Swans leading it. Centre bounce. Witts won that one. Taps down to Miller. Clearance for the Suns. Hands it off to Rowell. Rowell forward of this stoppage. Kicks deep to full forward. Long had to spoil there on McCartan. Ball to deck. Beautifully roved by Florent of Sydney. Spins his way through. Kicks clear. Jordan the target at half back. Spoiled by Noble. That pair battle on again at ground level. Neither win. Picked up by Anderson though. Gold Coast ball as Anderson hands it out back to the wing. Hewland picks up. Hand pass exchange with Noble. Hewland's kick is now good. Spots Rogers on a short pass. Just high half forward, about 70 out.
So it's a long kick coming up. Will Powell now just forward to centre wing. Drops it to a dangerous spot. King had the set. Off hands. Rode there Humphrey. Goal. That's his second. Suns with a couple of quick ones to start their second quarter. 6-4-40, the Swans. The Suns 4-2-26, back to a 14-point margin, 5 gone, second term.
Yeah, just able to turn two centre bounce wins, a bit of territory, ball in their forward half. They're the best team for dominating inside 50s, and very early, first 3 or 4 minutes here, they're certainly on top in that regard. And a bit of role reversal. They're putting the Swans defenders under a huge amount of pressure, and some easy goals from Crumming and some good forward craft.
Again, 2 really good small forward plays. Ben Long comes in for that spoil and competes, which is Dimmer would absolutely love him for that. And then a great front and centre from Bailey Humphrey, just doing what he does best and kicking goals. That's 2 for him early. He can be really hot and cold, but he's a massive barometer for the Suns.
Zane Bojack on the boundary.
And it's not just the heat down here, guys. It's 60% humidity. So if the Suns can stay in contact with the Swans, you'd think they probably will be able to run it out better than their opposition.
Yeah, very, very oppressive conditions. Bounce. What's the umpire saying? It's a free kick. Witts wasn't given a run at the ruck contest. Free kick, Gold Coast. Hand passes to Miller. Deep entry to 4 forward for Gold Coast. Off the knuckle of Melican. Out the back, Long. Oh, he had an air shot trying to soccer it through Ben Long. Missed his boot. Rolls through for a point. Sydney by 13 at 6-4, 40 to 4-3, 27. Did he actually get studs to that? Has it been credited as a point to him? Or is it a rush behind? I think they've given him the point price.
I think they were generous. The Swans bring it back in.
Air swings count for 1.
That's what they do in my golf game, I know that. That's Blakey, who was buffeted off the kick by Will Graham. He's put it over the boundary line at the interchange gates. It's going to be a free kick to the Suns. It'll go to McAndrew. Once again, the Swans have rushed back inside defensive 50. It's a long kick from Andrew. Big pack of players off the hands of Witts. Roved by Graham. Shot a handball out. Humphrey on fire. Handball back to Ben King. Back to Humphrey in close quarters. He's tackled there by Rampy into the ground. He lets loose the ball. It's still Rowbottom. He can't quite get it. McCartan now off hands. It goes to Roberts for the Swans. Under enormous pressure, he tumbles a kick out to the outer wing. Dan Rioli couldn't quite pick it up. McLean puts himself in. Well done, Collins, who intercepted it. Gave it back to Rioli. Spears a pass to centre forward. Humphrey on the arc of 50. Now this is within his distance. He should go back. He'll have to kick it from 55.
A great win there with Collins and Rioli, wasn't it? 2-on-2, and they're able to bring the ball to ground and then win it in a beautiful kick, top of the arc.
It was a good effort, in fact, from Sam Collins in there. Bailey Humphrey, he's gone off the long run too. He's about 70 from goal as he starts his run up. He'll have to kick it from just outside the centre square. Does so right on the line. That's a monster drop punt, but he's pushed it right, one behind. 40 plays 28, 12-point margin here at Carrara. Beautiful Sunday afternoon footy here on ABC Sport.
2 goals, 1 to 1 behind the Gold Coast in this term after Sydney led by 25 points at quarter time. Now just a 13-point lead, short inbound from Blakey. He chips it off to Rowbottom, who's just forward of full-back. James Rowbottom. He looks out towards the Nerang River side. Very wide kick. Lloyd's there to mark. Just before the boundary line. Quite a number of Swannies fans close to the boundary in those rows in the stand on the Nerang River side. Lloyd plays on from right half back. Kicks to a pack. Collins at the front for the Suns. Couldn't mark. Ground level. Powell. Roves well. Hand passes to Witts. Hands it to Holman. Suns run the outer wing. Hand pass to Humphrey. Hands to Rogers. Rogers kick. Marked by Long. 60 out hard on the boundary. Left half forward. Plays on. Kicks deep. Big pack off hands. A point. Reid was there. King was there. But Blakey did enough to knuckle it through for a behind. Sydney's leads 2 goals. 6-4 to 4-4.
Yeah, 6-1 inside 50s to the Suns. The Swans just can't get the ball even in their front half, really, at the start of this second quarter.
So Roberts plays on, goes to the right back pocket, find Jakey Lloyd. He's come back to help out.
Just taking away their marks, haven't they, Price? He forced them to kick long down the line or to a contest all the time.
Well, that was exactly what happened there. And Sam Collins got in front of Hayden McLean, who was frustrated with that kick. Nice mark taken there by Sam Collins for the Suns on the arc. That's a wobbly one inside to the corridor to find Will Powell. Well directed, if not ugly in flight. Now Powell to the right of the mark. Long kick, big pack. Oh, clunk! Jared Witts, the big ruckman, you'd love that, Matty Primus. Took it 20 metres out, slight angle to the left.
Yeah, pushed hard off the turnover forward, and they've got some tall timber down there, haven't they? With obviously Witsy marking that, Walter, Reed, and then King. There's a lot of height down there, and they've been asking a lot of questions, a lot of deep ball. They kicked some crumbs with this for the first time they've taken a mark, but putting a lot of pressure on the Swans defenders.
So 8 inside 50s to 1 so far this quarter for the Suns. Jared Witts can drag them even closer. Pops it through, no. Hits the post. One behind. So it's a 10-point margin now. 6-4 plays 4-6 as the Swans bring it back in.
Real poker of a kick too. Hit the post, Patton marks at left half back, plays on. Chips it to Corey Warner, kick to the wing is intercepted by the Suns. Holman going back with the flight. Takes the mark for Gold Coast. I think Florent was the target, but it went beyond him. Holman from halfway puts Gold Coast back towards half forward and a big pack. Blakey flew, not an effective spoil. King rose for Gold Coast, hand pass intercepted by McInerney of the Swans. Desperate clearing kick, bombs at the right half back, no one there in red and white. Oh, but the hand pass has turned over. Little hand pass from Willer, read by Chad Warner. 2 bounces along the edge of the centre square, kicks to an open forward line. There's no one there for the Swans. Andrew gets back for Gold Coast at fullback. Gathers, kicks to right half back, Jeffrey marks. Jordan loses his footing, so Jeffrey plays on. Has a bounce to the wing, evades McInerney. Hand passes to Flanders. Flanders kick around the boundary line is intercepted by Melican Spoil. And there, Graham just waited for the ball to come to him, Matt, rather than attack it, and Melican knocks it out of play for a throw-in.
Yeah, they dodged the bullet then, the Swans. They definitely away, the Suns, but once again, there's nothing forward of the ball. They're just taking away all their marks. 10 marks the Suns have had to 3 to Sydney.
And contested possessions this quarter, the Suns 17-7 as well.
Yep.
Off hands, Flanders. Handball backwards to Rowell at the back of the stoppage. He wheels onto his left and then back to his right. Under enormous pressure, he scrubs it forward. It's intercepted by Heaney for the Swans. Beautiful kick into the middle of the ground. Finds Francis. He's got a couple streaming forward, including McLean. Oh, that's a lovely kick to Campbell. Hits him lace out, did not have to change stride. 40 out, slight angle to the left. That was a wonderful kick.
It's interesting, Matty, you're talking about Sydney's lack of ability to actually move the ball forward in this first half, this second quarter, which has been so true, and they haven't been able to get it over halfway. But they've been isolating one player really deep, and in this time it was Francis on Collins, and Collins has been allowing him to come up at the footy, which allowed this whole play to transpire.
Only the 4 goals this season for Braden Campbell. The left foot is true. Good goal, good kick. Nice response from the Sydney Swans. 7-4-46 to the Suns. 4-6-30 after 13 minutes of this second quarter.
Well, as I mentioned, they just flipped it on the head, the Suns. The Swans are trying to counter-attack all their movement from deep inside the Suns' forward 50, and it's a hard game to do that. You know, you might get 1 or 2 through, but most of the time you're going to either go to a stoppage or the ball's going to turn over. But they haven't been able to get any territory, and that was the first time they were able to turn the ball over probably 60 metres out from the Suns' goal and then be able to play quick. So purely based on what you mentioned, Price, they just haven't won clearances and contested ball, which they dominated the first quarter. Suns have lifted their intensity in that regard, and hence why the scoreboard's going the Suns' way. Sunday
footy on ABC Sport. That's Matt Primus. Jamie Stanton also in the experts chair. Quentin Hull and Michael Price calling the action. Zane Bojack's in the shade of the stands down on the boundary, and you need it today because it is a warm day. And Sydney kicking its first goal of the second term, 13 minutes in. Back out by 16 points. Centre bounce, Reed beats Laddams at ruck time. Rowell rose but tackled by Rowbottom. Throw. Free kick to Rowbottom. Clearance for the Swans. Short pass. Marked by Jordan. Edge of the centre square, 60 from goal, centre half forward. Jordan kicks to the pocket. Over the head of Haywood. Ball spills to the back of the pack. Collins cleans up for Gold Coast. Hand pass to Andrew along the boundary line. No room to create. He's ushered out. And the boundary line. The victor there. Throw in. Right. Forward pocket for Sydney. We're attacking the big screen end in this second term. Reed to the front of McLean at ruck time. His tap's not all that effective. Noble makes good of it at ground level. Dumped off his kick by Campbell. Noble's kicked it out of bounds on the full. Says fair play, and now Jakey Lloyd he's waiting for a patron to give him the footy back, and they do. So Lloyd's 55 out at right half forward. Pretty set structure inside 50 in front of him. So he runs the boundary line, uses the wind to try and bring it across the face. Good kick, but it's hit the pack and offhand's gone through for a behind. Sydney by 17. 7-5-47 to 4-6-30, Zane.
Yeah, the Lizard's been getting some treatment to that front paw, or should I say the left hand. He's been getting some strapping around the wrist area and around the fingers, so I think he's dealing with a few hand issues, but hopefully he'll be able to crawl out very shortly.
Suns bring the ball back in through Will Powell. Long kick towards the wing. Melican did beautifully to work his way to the front of the pack too easily in front of Walter.
I said Zano was in the shade. Sure he's not in the sun? I might have got to him with those lines.
Very reptilian. Oh dear, oh dear.
Scaling new heights down there with his terms, Zano.
Corey Warner goes backwards to Melican. Just between left half-back and centre wing on this commentary side. Back to the wing to find Rampy. The Suns have set up nicely in front of the Swans here. It's a long kick inside 50. Andrew couldn't quite clunk it well, rode by Cleary, handball in front of Corey Warner to his brother Chad, and it was smothered nicely by Bodie Hewlin, picked up by Noble. Chad Warner gets involved to steal it back. He's held up in the left forward pocket, a massive pack of players. The umpire comes in, says he's going to ball it up.
Deep in attack for Sydney. Flanders buffeted off the stoppage by Chad Warner's tackle. Fell to Hayward, tries to snap, not a great kick. Hewlin gets high contact from Cleary. No, he doesn't.
Missed it.
The umpire says ball up. Well, Cleary was a little over the shoulder there, but the umpire thought better of it. Throws it in the air, 30 from Sydney's goal. McLean flips it out the back, doesn't have a rover. Picked up by Flanders of Gold Coast, who've got a bit of space here. Hands it to Ainsworth. Ainsworth back to Flanders. Hand pass to half-back. Anderson's there. He's been quiet. He's tackled, and it's the lock that's on him. I think Jordan's running with him. He's over him there to force a stoppage. And they call him the padlock. James Jordan.
Absolutely. Only the one clearance for Noah Anderson, usually prolific in that area. It was roved by Rowbottom into the pocket, and there's a nice contest between Sam Collins and Aaron Francis over the top, off their hands, and will be a throw-in the left forward pocket for the Swannies.
Yeah, Anderson 8 disposals, but as I said, only the one clearance for the Suns kipper.
Yeah, ineffective at this stage of the game. 17 points the margin, the Swans lead. Thrown in left forward pocket. Off hands, Chad Warner has a snap. Oh, that's magnificent. Magnificent, Chad Warner, as he salutes the Suns crowd and extends the Swans lead. 8-5-53 to 4-6-30. 23 points the margin, 18 gone, second quarter.
Stoppage goal there from the Swans, which we've been speaking about all day, about their dominance in that. But I've been really impressed by the Swans' tall forwards, which are very much lesser lights today. They have not allowed Sam Collins or Mac Andrew to take intercept marks across their half-back line or even deep inside 50. And to allow that stoppage to happen, Francis slid across and didn't allow Collins to take a mark when both Mac and him were in a 2v1. So it's been very impressive from their lesser light forwards, and sometimes some would say they're actually not even forwards.
No, you're exactly right. Definitely it's been something they've a focus for them this week, hasn't it? The ability to bring the ball to ground. Even they did 3 or 4 lines and just went to a stoppage, which was an advantage for the Swans to be able to hold the ball in there and take time out of the game.
Centre bounce. Swans out the back, get another clearance. McInerney hand pass along the ground, row bottom, couldn't pick up first time, goes in again, but he's locked up, and we'll see another ball up.
Noah's getting frustrated with his padlock. Apparently it doesn't break. He's trying to break it though.
Laddams and Witts tangle, whistle. Free kick to Witts for Gold Coast. Just forward of the bullseye, kicks wide to right half forward. Ainsworth marks in space and decides the most short option. Well, the lead there was Graham, couldn't take the mark. Well spoiled by Roberts, and the Swans come away. Hand passes to half back. Corey Warner gives to Heaney. The Blondies combine, hands it to Roberts. Roberts kicks the wing, good kick. From one zinc nose to another. Francis presenting, leading, marking. Just forward of the wing for the Swans. He'll kick infield. Rowbottom's got space near the bullseye. Switch out to the right half forward flank. Good kick. Lloyd marks in space. 60 from home. Right half forward holds up.
And Mac Andrew spare, so they're waiting to get numbers deep, so they make it a contest.
Now Lloyd with the kick. Deep to the goal square at full forward. Grundy comes in, tries to present, can't mark Roves. Little hand pass, Cleary keeps it alive, hands it to Campbell. Kick to the corridor, Jordan the target. Spoiled away from Miller, and the Suns will clear.
Flanders under enormous pressure, tries to get the handball out to Anderson, and guess who was there? Jordan put him off the ball. He actually gets the ball himself now. Comes across to Campbell. Campbell centres the ball to find Aaron Francis, forward of the centre circles. Still inside the centre square. He holds it up, goes laterally to the left to find Rampy. All the Suns back there. He pops it up. Oh, Heaney did the body work early against Hewlin. Hewlin got there to spoil though. Picked up by Dan Rioli. The handball to Jared Witts off one step. He kicks it to half-back. Graham couldn't quite keep his feet, was buffeted off it by Roberts, picked up there by Blakey. Blakey puts the ball to the dangerous spot. Cleary Roves, handball to Campbell. Campbell the left foot and a goal. They scramble to the Swans. That's his second, and they extend their lead yet again to 29 points. 9-5-59 plays 4-6-30 the Swans. We played 21 minutes of this second quarter. Sunday afternoon footy. You got to love it.
You absolutely do, Price. And fantastic, the Swans. Haven't they just got momentum back just purely by getting the ball inside their forward 50? And then on a couple of occasions then, and I'm not critical of the two forwards, the Suns forwards in Walter and Reid, but they're playing deep. They want nice, easy ball to come out. Swans defenders are standing 20 metres in front of them. So twice the Suns defenders tried to come out at back 50. There was nothing to kick to, so they over-handballed. Swans caused the turnover and then went back inside 50. You've got to understand the game. There's heat on their backmen. You've got to present up and give them an outlet. They haven't, and they've paid the price there for a goal against.
There's a good glut of academy players in these games between the Suns and the Swans, and Campbell, one of a handful for Sydney, and that was a great finish. Swans with the last 3 goals in the game, out by 29. Centre clearance here. Anderson hand passes hopefully to half forward. Roberts taps it away from Ainsworth. Cleaned up by McInerney of Sydney. Hands it to Payton. Hands it to Grundy in tight. Bit of a turnover. McInerney cleans up though. Rushes a ball from centre half back for Sydney out to the wing. Whistle in the contest between Noble and Cleary. Cleary gets a free kick. He was held. He chips Sydney to half forward. Heaney's got a couple to beat. Can't mark. Rowell picks up. He's put off his hand pass though by the pressure of Francis. Cleary picks up for Sydney, right half forward. Hands it to Grundy. Grundy's hand pass, not great. Stolen by Anderson of Gold Coast. Hands it on to Noble. Noble to Miller at centre half back. Now the corridor opens. Hands from Witts to Rowell. Rowell was run down and his kick's turned over. Great pressure from the Swans. Cleaned up at the back by McInerney, and again quick moving, kicks to Rowbottom, hands to Blakey. Blakey kicks wide to left half forward, and a bit of a slow up here as Corey Warner marks a kick and a half from goal.
They just look ominous, the Swans there. James Jordan is just a pest, isn't he? Magnificent tagging job. A long kick to left forward pocket, spoiled there by Hewlin, picked up by Witts, back to Hewlin, now to Joel Jeffrey. They run it out, the Suns. A wobbly kick towards the wing. Ethan Reid's made his way up there on the half volley, couldn't quite pick it up. It's going to be stuck under a few bodies. They'll peel themselves off the Carrara turf. I think the last one up is Matt Roberts for the Swans. Gives it back to the umpire. Crowd a little frustrated, the locals here, as the Swans are bringing it. Grundy. Handball off there to Corey Warner. It's a long but ill-directed kick inside 50. Oh, Hewlin drops it. That lets Francis in. Francis uses his body, but he went to ground. Hewlin stayed on his feet. Handball now. Gave it back to Noble. Noble handball to Holman. He's looking to offload it, and Noble kept running. Got the handball receive at right half back. Long kick to the wing, looking for Witts. In fact, it went over the head, and Walter presented, took a chest mark.
Yeah, Matt likes the ball movement there. Walter with a high kick towards the pocket. King in front. Two-grabber. Marks at 45 from goal despite the attention of McCartan. What did you like about it, Matt?
Well, he wasn't just looking for the easy ball back inside 50. He came up and gave him a target to kick to, and he's a big lad. He can win some ball. Then they're able to play quick off that and get King one-on-one. He's the best forward in their team.
Yeah, like Walter coming up high there.
Absolutely, rather than just looking for that deep ball all the time.
So Ben King's already kicked 1 goal. This is a really tough assignment. Man on the mark's a couple of metres in from the boundary, 45 from goal. So King will basically kick from where the 50 paint meets the boundary paint at right half forward. Right foot drop punt. It's a good looking prospect, which is a little across the face. Whistle in the contest. Free kick.
Lock.
Which way? Gold Coast's way, I think. Yep, it's going to be Walter. Well, he did the hard work up the ground, and now he's on the really tight angle in the left forward pocket. Jed Walter trying to negotiate the right-footed snap punt here. Has a go, executes beautifully. It's a goal to Gold Coast, and they needed it. Sydney had kicked the last 3. Swans margin cut to 23 points. Sydney 9-5, 59. Gold Coast 5-6, 36. First goal of the afternoon for Jed Walter. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
As Matty said, he's asked for Reid and Walter to stand up, and Walter's done that in that last minute. It's like he's gotten some instruction from the bench and said, hey, you need to come up at the footy and make a contest, and he's done that in 2 separated instances, which is fantastic. And as you mentioned, Q, Gold Coast really needed that goal. They needed to start resting some of this momentum back and not letting the lead get too far out. And with it such a hot day, you never know if they can actually chase it down.
Yeah, 25 at quarter time, back to 23. It did get down to 10 and out to 29. So Swans still basically pricey, holding that quarter time advantage. Sydney only losing this term to this point by 2 points.
The Suns started very strongly this second term, and Swans have fought their way back as the big tackling effort comes in from Brodie Grundy as Matt Rowell tried to extract the ball. Umpire will come in and throw it up for a secondary bounce. Rowell versus Warner. How about the quality in that contest at the base of the pack? Umpire's got a whistle on play. It's a hold against Grundy. It'll go to Jared Witts, the big man in the centre circles. Lobs a kick inside 50. Swans with plenty of numbers. Rampy off hands. Oh, he was worried off it. Will Graham comes in against his opposite 26 in Bice. Now Cleary for the Swans. Gave it back to McCartan, and he shins it outside of the boundary line, out of bounds on the full. So it's going to be a Suns free kick, and it'll be coming back in. About 70 from goal. It's with John Noble at right half forward. They're trailing this by 23 points, the Suns desperately needing a goal.
Noble runs infield, 70 metres out, driving right foot drop punt to full forward, a big pack. Walter first hand. There's another whistle in the contest here, and the Suns are going to get another free kick. I think Walter's got another one here. Yep, it's going to be Walter's free kick, and Lewis Milliken's holding his jumper out as if to say, well, hold on, wasn't he doing that to me? But no, Jed Walter gets another chance, and this time the angle's much kinder. He's 15 metres out and basically straight in front. Lewis Milliken is teapotting on the mark.
Just a great kick, that spot. 3 guys. If Witts goes down there, there's 4 guys over 200 centimetres. It's pretty hard to defend.
Jed Walter for goal 2 in the space of a couple of minutes. True with his right boot. He loves a celebration too. Pumps his fist, pumps up the crowd. And the kid from the PBC Lions has kicked 2 goals for Gold Coast back to back. Sydney's lead trimmed to 17 points. 28 minutes played second term. It's Swans 9-5, 59 to the Suns 6-6, 42.
Apologies, Q. Went a bit early there. But that just solidifies how important the centre bounce clearances here are in any game. I feel like we're at the Gabba at the moment. Normally at the Gabba it's very much the centre bounce is where the goals then come from. But today, if you win a centre bounce clearance, it looks like you're going to score very easily. So Gold Coast won that centre bounce. They moved the ball nice and quickly inside forward 50 and get a goal from it.
So the centre bounce clearance is 3-2 in favour of Sydney in this term. They dominated that aspect in the first term, 11-3 overall. We're back into the middle of Carrara on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. That's a dodgy bounce. The umpire's going to call that back. It favoured Jared Witts.
Just having a look at the moment. See Miller and Heaney next to each other. Chad Warner and Anderson.
Noah Anderson just can't find it at the moment. Big contest off the back of the pack. Tuke Miller gets there first, and he's jumped on there by Brodie Grundy. Holding the ball there, and the umpire just hovered.
Wow.
He had the hand up to put the whistle to mouth, and nothing happened, so he'll come in for a third.
It was a mini Draper from Miller there, that famous non-call from the Adelaide Oval last year. Hayward off the stoppage, centre half forward for Sydney. Rush kick to the pocket, no one there. Rolls out of play. Was there intent?
I don't think so, Q.
Yeah, you just can't trust it these days. Umpire says just throw it in. Throw it in. There's a patch of shadow there from one of these tall light stands in the pocket. About 40 from Sydney's goal as it's thrown in. Shallow throw in. Laddams palms down, but only to Humphrey of Gold Coast. Hands it off to Rioli. Hands to Anderson. Anderson to Weller. Weller to Rioli. All by hand, and they've run it out of half back. Now Rioli has a bounce. Make it 2 to the wing. He runs around Grundy. Hand passes to Weller, 4 to the wing. They've rumbled it to half forward. Hand pass, though, misses the next man in the chain, which was Graham. Rampy wins it for Sydney. Hands it from Milliken. Milliken to Chad Warner. Kick around the wing. Grundy was set for the mark. Spoiled at the last moment by Humphrey. It skims off his fingers. Goes close to the boundary line and eventually stays in play out there at right half forward for Sydney. Florent picks up. Hands it to Heaney. Heaney hands it to attacking 50. McInerney has a shot on goal. Misses. Just short. Collins is there to take the mark. I had my Millikens and McInerney's and McCartans all in my head at once there. Pricey, it was McInerney's shot, and Collins takes the mark.
Too many Macs. As Noah Anderson...
Except that Max had a pretty quiet day, hasn't he?
He certainly
Mac
has.
Andrew.
Noah Anderson downed behind play. Enter McCartan just forward of the wing. He goes 45-degree kick to find Cleary. Cleary's got a number of Swans with a bit of space. He's getting some direction there from Lloyd, who runs past for the handball. 60 from goal. Pops it up to the dangerous spot. Heaney in the front position was playing for the free kick, nothing doing. Graham got the handball away for the Suns. Through hands now, it's Lockweller. Long kick towards Ben Long. He's spoiled. Well rowed by McCartan. Rampy did beautifully in that situation. Got the ball back, and that is the siren for half-time. The Suns fought their way back, and then the Swans answered and put the pedal down. They've turned a quarter-time lead of 25 points into a 17-point margin. So the Suns did get the better of that second term. 9-5-59 to the Swans to 6-6-42 to the Suns at half-time.
And the goal kickers for Sydney, 2 for Chad Warner, 2 for Braden Campbell. 5 singles. Hayden McLean, Isaac Heaney, James Jordan, Peter Laddams and Corey Warner have also kicked goals for Sydney. While for Gold Coast, there's 6 goals. 2 for Jed Walter, 2 for Bailey Humphrey and singles to Dan Rioli and Ben King. So as Michael was saying, 25 points the lead to Sydney at quarter time. Now a 17-point lead for the visitors. In what was a seesawing second term, Gold Coast with the first couple of goals and in a few points, they narrowed the margin to 10. Swans kicked 3 goals in a row to get out by 29 before Gold Coast kicked the last 2 goals of the quarter. So in the end, Sydney kicked 3 goals, 2 to Gold Coast's 4-4. 17 the lead to the Swans. Jamie Stanton and Matt Primus with a thought or two before we get to other half-time commitments. What do you reckon, guys?
It's a game of momentum, isn't it? Gold Coast have some momentum, they kick a couple of goals. Sydney have some momentum, they kick a couple of goals. It's a very interesting game of footy. Sydney had better the first quarter by far, and then the last quarter that just went was very much momentum swings and large chunks of minutes too. First 10 minutes were Gold Coast, next 10 was Sydney, and then the last 10 was probably Gold Coast. So it'll be interesting to see which team can actually hold and arrest that momentum for longer. We'll finish out the rest of this game, the better.
Yeah, it feels as if the Swans need to own the momentum a lot longer to be able to win this game. They're not as efficient going forward, but if they can hold it in there, they can score, where the Suns look like they can score pretty freely, but they just can't dominate enough of the quarter. So, yeah, fantastic half from the Swans. I think Coxie will be saying, hey, we do this again, we'll win the game. Sure, Dimmer will be saying, hey, if we can get a bit of momentum going our way, keep winning the ball inside, we'll be able to get the scoreboard ticking over freely.
And just a thought, I mean, all footy's controlled at the source from the centre bounce, and you talk about momentum. I'm just wondering, let's take it the next layer. Is Sydney more as experienced at its plan B if it doesn't win at the source than the Suns are with its plan B if it doesn't win at the source? It's one thing we see about the Suns. I'm still wondering whether or not, if you don't have a day with Anderson, Rowell, Miller and Flanders doing the bit in the middle, whether or not that second string is as strong as some teams like Sydney, which has been a perennial finalist. They've got other systems.
Yeah, they probably don't bat as deep through the midfield, but I reckon what now they've brought in with their half-backs are now able to dominate. Rioli was starting to get on top in that quarter. Noble he's had a fantastic first half. So I think they're a stoppage team, but they can also now score pretty freely off the turnover, off the half-back line, and that's what they've added to their game.
And I think part of the reason why Sydney is so far down the ladder is their injuries. So, Q, I think your question's correct if you were talking about the grand final Sydney team, but that team is not the team that's currently playing the Suns today. They actually are quite young and inexperienced for a Sydney side. It's not been this way for a little while.
And just to drop a few of those names, Goulden, Mills, Papley, Adams in that sort of running group. No Logan McDonald, no Cunningham, no Amadi, no Robbie Fox. So, I mean, these are guys that obviously Adams is new to the club, but the rest of them have been the cornerstone of Sydney's consistency over the last couple.
And I reckon they've had to play differently today. They've probably made it continue to play that way with those guys out, and they haven't been able to get the job done, but they've come with the plan today, and so far it's been pretty good for them.
Thank you, Matthew. Thanks, Jamie. So Sydney lead by 17 points at half-time. That scoreline again. In warm conditions at Carrara, it's Sydney 9 goals, 5-59 to Gold Coast 6-6-42. We're inside an hour away from the big game at the MCG between Carlton and Geelong. You can hear it on the ABC Listen app wherever you are. If you're with us in the West, we'll be going there once we finish here. No changes to either the Blues or the Cats. Cooper Lord is the sub for Carlton and Ollie Henry the sub for Geelong. So just repeating, no late changes for Carlton versus Geelong. Cooper Lord wears the subs vest for the Blues and Ollie Henry wears it for the Cats. If you're with us on the Gold Coast, you'll be heading to the National Rugby League coverage once we wrap things up here. There are 2 games today. The first of them is underway. Canberra hosting the Dolphins at Canberra Stadium. And the Dolphins lead there 25 minutes into the game. It's the Redcliffe entity 12 leading the Raiders 4. Dolphins 12, Raiders 4, 25 minutes in. Call available on the ABC Listen app if you want to hear that. Anywhere around the country, the green button's where you hear the league. Later on in the afternoon in the NRL, the West's Tigers will take on the Cronulla Sharks. So plenty of footy for you on this Sunday on ABC Sport. But here at Carrara, we'll take a break. Sydney lead by 17 points at half-time. More Sunday footy on ABC Sport after a trip to the newsroom.
ABC News with Satyam Weinstein. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has held a rally with the Labor Party faithful in Sydney today. He's used the event to announce a multi-million-dollar promise to expand free around-the-clock telehealth services. The $200 million plan would see Health Direct rebranded and expanded into 1-800 Medicare. Mr Albanese says being in government carries a heavy responsibility.
To measure up to the ambition, optimism and energy of our extraordinary nation, to reward hard work, to nourish aspiration, to help people under pressure with meaningful and lasting action on the cost of living.
Shadow Transport Minister Bridget McKenzie says the coalition would consider making electric vehicle drivers pay for using the roads. Other motorists currently contribute to road maintenance through a fuel excise, but EV drivers avoid that tax. Some state governments have sought to implement their own road user charges for EVs, but the future of the policies are in doubt after the High Court found only the Commonwealth can impose such a scheme. Senator McKenzie has indicated the coalition would look at a road user charge for electric vehicles, but wouldn't be drawn on any detail when pressed by Insider's host David Spears.
Currently they're driving for free.
Okay, so you'll find a way to make them pay?
Well, everyone who uses the road, Spearsy, should pay for its maintenance. It's a pretty simple concept of equity.
Vatican officials say people will be able to visit Pope Francis's tomb at the Basilica Santa Maria Maggiore in Rome from Sunday local time. The pontiff has been buried in a private ceremony following a public service at St. Peter's Square at the Vatican. Around 400,000 people lined the streets of Rome to pay their respects. This man says it's been an emotional time.
We had Eastern, we celebrated Jesus, and on the next day we had to read in the papers that our Pope died. So when I read it, I booked my tickets to Roma. It was very touching. It's a very nice moment for all of us. People started to cry.
The US and Ukrainian presidents have met on the sidelines of Pope Francis's funeral for the first time since their White House spat in February. Both leaders deemed the 15-minute meeting to be positive, with Donald Trump raising the prospect of fresh sanctions on Russia following its latest assault on Kyiv last week. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says he was pleased with his meeting with the US president.
Really were productive meeting. I don't want to go to a lot of details, if it's possible, because the questions, very sensitive questions on, of course, totally it's about how to bring peace.
A massive explosion that ripped through Iran's largest commercial port has left at least 14 people dead, with fears that fires still burning at the Shahid Raji could spread. Authorities suggest the blast was caused by the improper handling of chemicals, but investigations are ongoing. Here's the BBC's Kasra Naji.
The pictures that we have seen, it appears that there are explosions in 3 places and all very close to each other, very severe explosions. And that has led to a massive fire, which is still raging. It's not under control, and there are sounds of explosions still being heard, and it looks as if the new explosions are more containers being engulfed in fire and exploding.
Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas has appointed his first ever deputy and likely successor. Hussein al-Sheikh is a senior advisor for Mr. Abbas, who is 89 years old. His appointment comes as Arab and Western governments envision an expanded role for the Palestinian Authority in the Gaza Strip's post-war governance. Meanwhile, Israel's blockade of the Gaza Strip continues in a bid to pressure Hamas to release the remaining hostages. The head of the UN's Office for Humanitarian Affairs, Jonathan Whitall, says the conflict is being fought without limits.
The coming days in Gaza are going to be critical. People are not surviving in Gaza. Those that aren't being killed with bombs and bullets are slowly dying. What we see around us is endless suffering.
And Australian golfer Minjee Lee has an outside chance of claiming victory heading into the final round of the first women's major of the year in Texas. At 4 under par, the 28-year-old will begin the final round 5 strokes off the lead in a tie for 15th. If she can win, it'll be the largest comeback in LPGA major history. You're now up to date with the very latest from ABC News.
Get your footy fix on the ABC Listen app.
Can you believe it? A new game high.
Wherever you are and whatever you're doing.
He drives it home.
AFL and NRL.
Bing, bing, bing.
Live and ad-free on the ABC Listen app. This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
Ben King gathers, handball back to Dan Rioli, 45 away, wheels onto his right foot, has a long ping and a straight kick. That's what the Suns required. Powell now just forward to centre wing, drops it to a dangerous spot. King had the set, off hands, right there, Humphrey, goal. That's his second.
Bit of role reversal. They're putting the Swans defenders under a huge amount of pressure, and some easy goals from Trumming and some good forward craft.
Francis, he's got a couple streaming forward, including McLean. Oh, that's a lovely kick to Campbell. Hits him lace out, did not have to change stride. Campbell, the left foot is true. Good goal, good kick. Nice response from the Sydney Swans.
Fantastic, the Swans. Haven't they just got momentum back just purely by getting the ball inside their forward 50? So they over handballed. Swans caused a turnover, then went back inside 50. You've got to understand the game. There's heat on their backmen. You've got to present up and give them an outlet. They haven't, and they've paid the price there for a goal against.
Cleary roves, handball to Campbell. Campbell, the left foot, and a goal. They scramble to the Swans. That's his second, and they extend their lead yet again.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
First of 3 games to complete the Anzac Appeal round this Sunday at Carrara is full of sunshine and full of Sydney performing very well to this point of the contest. Welcome back. My name is Quentin Hull, and it's the Swans with a 17-point lead at the long break. Sydney 9 goals 5-59 to Gold Coast's 6-6-42. Bouts at the MCG is about 40 minutes away. We'll keep you up to date with Carlton and Geelong. You can hear that on the ABC Listen app. Just repeating, no late changes there. Cooper Lord, the sub for the Blues, and Ollie Henry, the sub for Geelong. Sydney led by 25 points at quarter time here. So the Suns getting a little bit of that lead back in a second quarter where the locals outscored the visitors, kicking 4-4 to Sydney's 3-2. And more speaking about the Listen app, just to put this in the back of your mind for next weekend. Of course, the nation goes to the polls on Saturday. Extensive coverage on ABC Radio across the weekend. So if you're listening on the old style analogue radio and you're wondering where the footy's going to be on Saturday night, election coverage, of course, takes prominence, but we will still be at the football, be it the NRL, be it the AFL, be it the Super Rugby. So just put it in the back of your mind with election coverage coming up on Saturday next weekend, the ABC Listen app, or if you've got a digital radio and can pick that up, ABC Sport Digital is the place to get that. So it's going to be a big week on ABC News as we count down to the federal election on Saturday. And as mentioned, Saturday night, your footy there will be needed to be sourced elsewhere if you catch it on analogue radio. But the Listen app has got you covered across the board. Now, a couple of stats before we get to the third term here. And we'll start with the Swans. Justin McInerney leading the way with 15 disposals. Isaac Heaney has 14, 12 for Lloyd, 12 for Rowbottom, and 3 Swans with 11 disposals. Rampy, Chad Warner and Cleary. Just going a little bit deeper, the centre bounce clearances there. Heaney's got 3 of those. All those came in the first quarter, 3 for Rowbottom and a couple for Chad Warner. 8 score involvements though for Isaac Heaney, who's kicked the 1 goal to himself. Individually for Gold Coast, John Noble busy in the back line, 19 disposal. He leads all comers on the ground. Jared Witts has got 14. Noah Anderson, 13. Dan Rioli, 11. Clearances for Witts, 4. Only the 1 clearance for Noah Anderson, though. Overall disposal, Sydney lead that count by 25 at 196 to 171. The centre bounce clearance is still Sydney clearly winning that stat, 11 to 3. Swans plus 8 with the centre bounce clearances, 11 to 3. Clearances overall, Sydney plus 7 at 20 to 13. The inside 50s, Sydney plus 11 at 32 to 21. And Michael, welcome back from half time. You've just written a note for me. You can tell them.
Sorry, Matt Rowell, no clearances.
Matt Rowell.
So Matt Rowell, Noah Anderson. The only person effective for the Suns in the middle is Jared Miller Witts. And Jared Witts, who had 10 possessions and 3 clearances in that quarter. But I was just wanting to ask our expert commentators about how players of the quality of Noah Anderson. I know James Jordan is an absolute padlock, but both he and Rao, 1 clearance between them. That's a big issue for the Gold Coast Suns.
Yeah, it is, and obviously Sydney have done the job on Anderson. It's also been a really low stoppage game. It's a lot of centre bounces through the goals, but it hasn't been, the ball's been played a lot. There hasn't been many throw-ins. Forward 50 stoppages, which don't really count as clearances because they can be a bit junky sometimes. So roughly 80 to 100 clearances you have in a game for 2 teams. I think we're up to 30 so far at half time. So that takes away a strength of Rowell and Anderson. And then Sydney are trying to do it. They're trying to hang on to the ball, and really the only stoppages they want are in their forward 50. So once again, it's the planning of, hey, let's take away 2 of their strengths and also tag Anderson. It's worked pretty well for them. But those guys have to find, like Touk does, he finds the ball by his running capabilities, where the other 2 probably haven't been able to find that due to Anderson being tagged, and Rowell really doesn't have that elite running from goalpost to goalpost.
And it's interesting, on the flip side, you say Matt Rowell's not getting it done for what he's known for, but you go to the Swans, and the Swans would say that James Rowbottom is as good as Matt Rowell is, and he's at 7 clearances, and he's going really well by foot today, which is not necessarily his strength. So you've actually got the polar opposites of each other going, or playing head on head, and then a 1 tagging option. So that's probably why Rowell isn't getting on top of it, because Rowbottom's getting there first.
It's a great point. Yeah, that probably sounds like I'm giving Raul Anderson an out, but it's not bad luck. If there's not many, still take advantage of them. And the Swans, 3 midfielders, they've said, okay, yeah, there's not many of them, but when there are, we're going to make sure we win them. And they've been very good in that area. So, yeah, absolutely, there's an opportunity for those two to lift their game in that regard.
Zane Bojak's retreated to the shade down on the boundary. You've got something for us, Zano?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it down here too. These two teams warm up. I can tell you that Hanley, the sub for the Swans, has been activated because Ben Patton is out with a calf injury.
Wow.
They withdrew him at half-time.
Well, that's a big change for the Swans. So Ben Patton out and Tom Hanley has been activated, the 19-year-old rookie from Gippsland, the dairy farmer from Inverloch. There you go. A little bit of trivia that usually Q delivers.
Michael, you're very welcome to all of that kind of information.
It will be interesting, though. You said there might be a bit of a shift. So Dean Cox has specifically pushed Braden Campbell forward this year, but he might actually have to push him to the half-back or even the wing to allow Tom Hanley to then go and play his natural position of small forward.
So I was going to ask Matt Primus, Jared Witts, his input in that second quarter, obviously that really ignited the Gold Coast Suns at the start of that quarter. 10 possessions, he had 3 clearances himself and 4 score involvements. So the big fella must have got a rocket at quarter time.
Well, he might have got a rocket or he felt internally himself that Grundy had the better of me. He took away space, he pushed hard forward on him on quite a few occasions, was able to find a little bit of the ball. So, yeah, whether he did or not, he just realised, hey, I just got beaten in the first quarter, and as not an official captain anymore, but he chose to lift his game, and certainly he was able to win some of the inside ball when his inside mids weren't able to.
Really interesting half of footy coming up, and again going back to that storyline of Sydney just turning up in finals consistently. I mentioned before the broadcast, ever since the end of the Barassi era and the start of the new Swans, which was Rodney Eade's first year in '96, where they came from nowhere to make the grand final that year. So that's sort of seen as the new era of the Swans, where there has been 29 seasons and 24 finals appearances.
Amazing.
It is amazing, but they've only won 2 out of 6 this year. They did make the finals from 2017 when they lost their first 6. Remember, they went on an amazing run and won 14 of their last 16. But they're in that territory. And the last time they were 2-5 was the COVID season, and they didn't make the finals then. They're 2-4, the Swans, but they lead by 17 points at half-time here, looking to make it 4 wins in a row over Gold Coast.
Back into the middle, Grundy versus Witts. Witts gets it down. Humphrey, he gets tackled there by Chad Warner immediately, but too high. Umpire says it's going to be a free kick to the Sun. No. One umpire was like a traffic cop waving his arms around. The other umpire came in and threw the ball up. Humphrey got in front this time, tackled without the ball, and this time it's a free kick to the Gold Coast Suns. It'll be Bailey Humphrey, who had his Dax pulled down as well at the same time as Rowbottom gets up very gingerly. Humphrey peels it off to the right half-forward position to find Holman. Holman wheels around onto his left, puts it to the top of the square. Big Fly King and Walter at the back. Front square Flanders. Handball to Weller. Weller snaps from 35. It's a high ball. It's wide. It's just inside for one behind. Quick start for the Suns. 59 plays 43. 16-point margin in favour of the Swannies. Early doors, third quarter.
Not really getting any cooler. It's 10-3 local time, so starting to drop off a little bit, but it's been a very warm day. Good inbound. Bice received the pass, chips to Roberts. Roberts marks left half back for Sydney, and a keepings off progression so far. He kicks to halfway. Jordan Marks kicks in field back to Roberts. Still just defensive side of the wing. Sydney not kicking to a 50-50 ball, although Roberts hits his kick to the middle of the ground, went straight to Flanders in the bullseye. Kicks from the centre of the ground, King's out the back, can't mark. He got McCartan out of the contest, and then is pinged for holding the ball.
Great tackle back.
Milliken coming back, Matt, to help out, and that saves the day. Milliken kicks from left back pocket to right. Lloyd uncontested marks, transfers to right half back with a kick for Chad Warner, takes the marks in the shadow of the broadcast half back flank.
So Chad Warner just saunters away, nobody really standing the mark, has a bounce and then delicate little kick, 45 degrees to find Lloyd. Lloyd, shocker, is peeled off there by Noah Anderson. He kicks it to centre half forward, looking for Long, takes it on the arc. He's got a man by himself, it's King, puts it to the pocket, finds him. 25 metres out, not even 20 metres out. In fact, big angle to the right, though, shouldn't be a problem for Ben King.
just put 2 poor inside 45 kicks. They're trying to own the ball. You can see what they're trying to do, but you understand, hey, if it's too risky, just play long down the line or find something else. They're just causing too many turnovers. Those 2 turnovers are just brutal, 70 metres out into the Suns' dynamic forward line.
19 goals for the season for Ben King, heading the Coleman medal table at this stage. From 20 metres out, he pokes at it, but it's straight enough. He gets his second, and the Suns get their first of the third term. It's back to a 10-point margin now. The Swans 9-5-59 play the Suns 7-7-49 after 3 minutes.
Yeah, so they're trying to own the ball to keep the ball off the Suns, to be able to limit them to be able to play as quick as they want to, and they're still trying to progress the ball forward, but they're just taking too many risks with those 2 45 kicks. They're then opening their backs up, and they survived the first one, but on the second occasion the Suns were too classy.
And that's the Jekyll and Hyde of the Sydney Swans in 2025. And it's very technical here. What I'm going to talk about is the kicking action, though. In both of those kicks that we spoke about, that we saw in Roberts and then Lloyd in that second time, they're both off the 1 foot step, and they're sitting in the chair, which then allows the kick to literally pop up, or it does tend to slide and miss the boot, which is, I know, boring for people to listen to, but affects the kicks dramatically by them sitting in those chairs and not driving through the contest.
I like a bit of kick nerdery, Jamie Stanton. Well explained, not really over the ball and driving through the kick. Miller at the stoppage, centre bounce, another clearance, Suns, hands it to Wiss. Rush ball to half forward. Bailey Humphrey wins a hard ball, hands it to Rowell. Rowell kicks to Reid. Reid marks 25 out. Or is it Walter? It's Walter who's taken the grab this time. Jed Walter. And we don't have the stat in front of us, but I'd love to see the percentage of scores off centre bounce clearances in this game. I mean, it's always a big factor, but it seems to be even more so in this game. And see, Coach Primus knows how to get that on the champion data, so he's gone to work. While Jed Walter is lining up his third goal. Right foot kick, missed it badly to the left. That's a bad miss.
And on that point, Q, it feels like we're at the Gabba.
You said that in the first half, and you're right.
Which is exactly how the Gabba plays.
How'd you go, Matty?
Yeah, 1 goal, 1 to Sydney and 2 points to the Suns. So not as many, but I reckon there'd be repeat 50s off that, Q. That is probably helping both teams.
So Roberts, that's an enormous kick towards centre wing, off hands. It's Braden Campbell who's taken to ground by Bodie Hewland, and umpire will come in and throw it up quickly. It's a massive pack of players around this ball. Witts versus Grundy. Grundy butters up, gathers the ball himself, goes for the subterranean handball looking for Campbell. It bounced over the boundary line next to the interchange gates, and we'll get a throw in the shade on the commentary side of the ground. And that shade most welcome for most of the players. It's still 26 degrees. It's been a very warm afternoon, Sunday afternoon footy here on ABC Sport. The throw in. Once again, Witts basically gets the clearance himself, the big slipper. Tumbling a ball towards Long, who did well to provide a secondary contest. He got a free kick against Lloyd for holding the man. So Ben Long, 70 from goal at left half forward for the Suns. Wheels around onto his right foot. That's a very high kick looking for King. Putting himself in the hole there. Courageous work there from Matty Roberts. Gets a free kick for illegal contact against Ben King.
Yep, heard the big forward coming, but stood in the hole and did well. Chips a short pass to McCartan. McCartan marks and kicks it to Bice. And Riley Bice takes the grab for Sydney just inside defensive 50 at left half back. Doesn't like what's ahead, so chips back to the pocket. Through Rampy to the other side of the ground. McCartan receives in the right back pocket for the Swans. We're looking for an exit here. They are not kicking to a contest, though, the Swans. They do not want to do that coming out of their own half, but McCartan has to now. Takes a bounce and kicks long to McLean on the wing, over his head. Spoiled away by Jeffrey, but over the boundary line, or Campbell tried to keep it in. He does keep it in. Taps it along the line. No, boundary ump's hand is up. Despite Braden Campbell's best attempts to trip the light fantastic down this broadcast side. Wing throw in. The ruckman will basically put their studs all over the Anzac Appeal round logo in the shadows. Ball tossed in well. Grundy with the hand. It comes back to him, and then Witt sits on him. And they tangle. Ump says play on. Oh, now Grundy's leaning in to try and stop Weller picking it up, and he has. It's a beautiful art, Matthew.
Beautiful, I'm not sure, Q, but it is an art.
Umpire throws it up on the logo. Witts got it down. Oh, so immediately Jordan was tackled into the ground by Matt Rowell. Very aggressively tackled and back onto the logo. Umpire throws it up again. The two big units in Witts versus Grundy. They both miss it. Picked up by Rowbottom once again. Rowell tackled him into the ground. Ball stuck underneath. We've moved about another 2 metres forward. So it's attritional at the moment. Once again, umpire throws it up. Witts gets it down. This time Flanders breaks away. Handball over the top to Rogers, who butters back around, gets onto his right foot and kicks it inside 50. Ben Long made his way to the pack. That's a clever mark. Double grabber. Flanders kept running. Handball received. Outside of the right boot as he got belted. It's down the field, methinks. Yes, it is. Umpire's called it. Now, one's calling downfield. The other one's calling back to where it came from. Let's see where they end up. It's going to be 25 metres out, slight angle to the left. The free kick's going to go to Jed Walter. It was a relayed free kick, so Walter will have a shot at his third goal.
Blakey, the offender, with a late contact.
So Jed Walter had a good look at it.
He should have kicked that last one, shouldn't he?
Certainly should have.
2-1 for the day.
This one, slightly more difficult proposition, but he's got a couple under his belt. Is a good kick of the footy. From 35, strikes that one. It's nice. The Suns get a good start to this third term. Another goal to them. And that cracks the lead down to only 3 points for the Swans. 9-5-59 to 8-8-56. And we've played 9 minutes of the third quarter. Sunday afternoon footy on ABC Sport.
It's quite interesting. Matty literally just said in the break, there's been barely any stoppages and we had 5 in about 30 seconds, and which is exactly how the Suns want to play. They want to win the stoppage and then they want to move the ball by hand quickly to get it into their big key forwards. It's very interesting to note at the stoppages at the moment, Matt Rowell is doing a very good job at getting across to Jordan and trying to flurry up Anderson to play on Heaney. Heaney at the moment is looking at Anderson and going, that's sort of my job, but not really. So it'll be interesting to see what James Jordan needs from his teammates and if Rowell continues to do it successfully.
So that equals Jed Walter's best return at AFL level. He kicked 3 here against Adelaide earlier in the season. A fledgling career, still only 19 years of age. Centre bounce. Gold Coast out the back, first hand on it. Coming through Powell, hand passes to Rowell. Rowell hands it to Flanders, runs to the wing, hands it to Jeffrey. Jeffrey hands it to Weller. 70 out left, half forward. Weller a high kick to full forward. McCartan spoils the pack for Sydney. Ball to ground level, rolling along. Powell has a go for Gold Coast, hassled off it by Hayward. Over the head, advantage taken. Rioli runs to 30. Rioli puts Gold Coast in front. A second goal for Daniel Rioli. And Gold Coast has kicked 3 goals unanswered in the opening 10 minutes of the third quarter. And just double checking. Well, first time since they kicked the opening goal of the game that the Suns have been in front. First time since that first goal that Gold Coast has seen the lead. And Dan Rioli's second sees the Suns 9-8-62 lead the Swans 9-5-59.
Yeah, and just all stoppage, contested ball dominance, and then they're playing to their strengths. So they then got super speed and they can get outside Sydney, but they are belting Sydney up inside the contest, and then they're just surging the ball forward and giving their forwards great looks ahead of the ball. But purely based on what the Sydney were very good at in the first half, early in the first 4 or 5 minutes of this quarter, the Suns have dominated them inside the contest.
7 inside 50s for 3 goals too. That's not a bad conversion rate either, as the Swans win this clearance. It's with Chad Warner at the base of the stoppage. It's a long kick. Boy, that's a good defensive mark. He's a strong kid, this Bodie Hewland. Apparently his younger brother's not too shabby either, coming through either, Matty Primus. It's a 50-metre penalty. Somebody's gone through the demilitarised zone there as Hewland. Nobody's standing the mark. He wants to go on with it. He chips it forward inside 50. That's too easy. Ben Ainsworth takes it 45 out directly in front.
Yeah, everything turning against them. Even that intercept mark, they haven't been able to do that the whole game, the Gold Coast Suns defenders, but they're able to do that, and then a silly 50-metre penalty. Tide's certainly gone against them. A big 5 or 6 minutes here to see if Sydney can reverse this.
Well, they're now leading by 3 points, the Suns, after trailing by 17 at half time, 25 at quarter time. Swans have no answers in this quarter so far. Ainsworth lets go from right on the arc. It's a little wide to the right. It's only one behind. That lead now 4 points. 63 plays 59. 12 and a half gone, third turn.
Blakey taking a moment to assess things with the kick in. Walks beyond the goal mouth and then finds a free target. Oh, Bice drops a mark. He should have taken it left half back. Got time to regather though. Under pressure, his hand pass puts a teammate under the dump. McInerney lost it. Bice gets it back. Gives it back to McInerney. Sydney have just got out of this. Oh, but McInerney's kick got dropped by Witts in the centre of the square. He picks it up though, cleans up his mess, hands it to Miller. Miller's kick to the pocket. Long takes the mark. Going back with the flight. Hart on the boundary. 40 metres out in the right forward pocket.
Yeah, another sweating off the turnover. Wasn't that short kick inside again? They're up for that kick. They put numbers through the middle of the ground, and they're pressuring the hell out of Swans backmen, and they're under pressure when they're trying to rebound the ball off back 50 or between the arcs.
So yet to kick a goal today, Ben Long, but the Suns have kicked the last 5 goals in the game. So late in the second quarter, Sydney was out by 29 points. Gold Coast now lead it by 4. Long looking to make it 10 with a beautiful kick which judges the wind perfectly. He had to give that a little bit of left to right and it worked back through the major opening. Great finish from the right forward pocket from Ben Long. And the Suns have now kicked the last 6 goals in the game. Long's first, Gold Coast 10-9, 69. Sydney stuck on 9-5, 59. Matt Primus and Jamie Stanton.
And this dominance from Gold Coast has come off 2 parts. Their ability to hunt better at the contest and Matt Rao really going after James Jordan. And then secondly, it's their ability to win the ball off turnover and the way that they're covering the corridor Gold Coast at halftime. It's like they've been given a refresher that Sydney want to kick mark and they want to use those short 45s and get the ball through the corridor. And now they're starting to actually put more defenders through that corridor space to challenge Sydney to kick the ball long, which they really desperately don't want to do.
Dominating this third term so far, the Gold Coast Suns. Umpire will recall that bounce as Laddams versus Reid is the contest in the centre circles. Now throws it up. Laddams gets the front position, gets it down, but Rao gets there first. Can't quite pick it up. Took Miller comes in and can. Sweeps a handball to the left to find Jeffrey. Jeffrey by foot finds Weller. Weller 80 from goal, kicks it into the path of King. Oh, once again, Matt Roberts puts his body where Angels fear to tread and takes a beautiful defensive mark.
Long kick. Francis flies. Couldn't mark. Will rove at ground level for Sydney. Hand passes to Chad Warner, forward of the wing. He rushes a hoping kick to a one-on-one. Collins has McLean fly over him. McLean almost takes the mark. He roves the big man, though, in the pocket. Hand pass infield. Hanley's out there, got a hand pass infield. Gets it back, but Andrew smothers his kick. And Big Mac ensures that that's out of play for a boundary throw-in on attacking 50 for Sydney.
Is that their first inside 50 this quarter, Sydney?
Yes.
Wow. And just an inside 50.
Yeah. I was wondering whether they actually counted those, where they go in by a couple of centimetres and pop back out. Throw in front of the small scoreboard, seeing the Suns leading by 10 points, but it's in the Swans attacking 50, picked up by Weller, speculating handball. Well done by McInerney for the Swans, gathered on the half volley, but equally good the tackle from Will Powell, the opposing 27, who puts him on the deck. And the umpire will come in and throw it up on the arc of 50 in the shade here. Most welcome shade at 26 degrees still in this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Free kick, high contact in the ruck contest, goes against Laddams and goes to Ethan Reid for the Gold Coast Suns.
Taking plenty of time as Hewland runs boundary side, says, how about give it to me for a hand pass? He says, okay. Hewland kicks a long ball towards the wing. 2 against Walter, and he's outmarked by Melican. Read the flight, takes the grab for Sydney. Kicks backwards. 20 metres backwards to Blakey at half back. Horseshoes on. He's kicked it to the corridor for Lloyd. Lloyd doesn't create much. Very short pass to Roberts. They're just trying to move the ball while keeping it in possession. Roberts short to Florent on D50. Florent to the wing for McInerney. That's worked. Still defensive side of the ground though. McInerney chips wide to Corey Warner. Corey Warner kicks around the boundary line and Hayward takes the mark. So I think that's, 7 chip marks?
Yep, that's a free kick behind the play.
So
there was a frustration effort there by Corey Warner.
Holman gets the free kick. His kick, though, is smothered by Hayward on the mark. And now Holman gives away a free kick over the head of Bice. Bice picks up and plays on the wing for Sydney. Has a bounce, kick infield. Hanley marks, 60 from goal for Sydney. Slews his kick to the pocket. Heaney flies from behind. Spectacular but ineffective. Can't take the mark off a knuckle and out of play. Boundary throw in. Sydney in attack and needing something, the Swans. They have conceded the last 6 goals in the game. Gold Coast lead by 10 points. 18 minutes third term.
The throw in to left forward pocket for the Swannies. McLean got rid of his opposing ruckman in Reid. Noble did beautifully, got the handball away and got a free kick for his efforts. Put his head over the ball against Hayward, who's been quiet today. John Noble has been the exact opposite, racking up the disposals. He's in the right back pocket. Aggressive kick straight up the middle, finds Collins. And he goes past for the handball receive. That's the beauty of John Noble added to this Suns outfit. He kicks it to the wing and putting himself in front was Cleary. The kick dropped a bit short for Rogers. Cleary did well. He goes looking backwards 45 degrees and finds Roberts. He's a good user of the ball, goes straight across the arc. It's a bounce pass, in fact, to Melican. Handball off to McCartan. McCartan by foot goes out wider to find Rampy. Rampy forward. Riley Bice on the logo on the outer side. So they're once again trying to just retain possession, the Swans. It's Lloyd now, gathers. He goes out even wider. Find Corey Warner and still just forward of centre wing and short of left half forward.
Interesting tactics here. Like the Suns not being drawn into the Swans sharing at that part of the ground. Now the long kick from Corey Warner to a pack. Reid almost takes the mark. Not controlled. He tackles anyway and forces a neutral. It's almost like when you see soccer or hockey and there's a team in the defensive half trying to suck up the other opposition to come towards them, but the Suns are not being drawn into it. McLean wins the tap. He follows up the big Swan, but his hand pass stolen. Campbell for the Suns. Hands it to Miller. Gold Coast out of trouble. Miller kicks from the pocket of the wing and Humphrey reads the drop and outmarks Florent. Boy, when he is going, he is a man that will bring fans to the footy. Bailey Humphrey. Defensive side of the wing. Long kick to half forward. McCartan got a hand in the pack for Sydney. Bice does the roving. Sydney's got the ball. Hand pass goes to Melican. Has a moment to look around. Now kicks back down the wing. Back to the Florent and Humphrey battle. Humphrey won it again. Hand pass though to Hewlin. Hewlin turns it over. Pinched by Corey Warner of the Swans. Hand pass cleverly tapped down by McLean to the advantage of Chad. He has a bounce. Chad Warner through the wing. Chips to Francis. Marks at 50 from goal. Is going to wheel onto his right boot. Kick long for home. The Swans need one. It's near side from Aaron Francis and a miss. And as much as the margin's only 9, concerns for the Swans with Gold Coast still on that 6-goal winning run. 6-goal run. 69 plays 60.
Boy, he torched a couple of players in there. Aaron Francis had a couple of freebies inside 50, including McInerney, as the Suns bring it back out. It's with Joel Jeffrey. It's a long bomb. Commentary wing. Witts, well done by Laddams, who put his body on the line there. Brought it to ground, picked up by Miller, his handball cut off there by the Swans. Well done Roberts, who injected himself again, gave it to Lloyd, then back out to McInerney, shrugged off the tackle of Anderson, put a kick in, but it's all Suns there. Jeffrey just behind centre wing. That's a long speculating kick to centre half forward. Off hands, it's going to be a high contact, and it's going to be a free kick to Bailey Humphrey. He's 70 from goal. He's going to launch this from inside the centre square. A beautiful drop punt, massive drop punt. What a kick from Bailey Humphrey to get his 3rd goal. Boy, can that kid launch a Sharon. Extends the lead to 15 points, 11-9-75 to 9-6-60. 21 minutes gone of the third term. You said it before, Q, when he's on, he is on. Matty Primus.
He is. I was a bit like you. I thought it was a bit of a soft free kick in the context of the game, but yeah, what a finish. He's called off to rotate. He couldn't even run off the ground. He was walking off, calling off, and they said, "No, stay out there, mate. You're on fire." So keep going. But yeah, the Swans, as you mentioned, Q, they're struggling to score. It's slow. There's not much going on. They can't even lock the ball in their forward 50. The Suns look full of running.
Well, they made the grand final last year, Jamie, having played a lot of games where they had big chunks of momentum go against them, the Swans. But in 2025, it's costing them. And here's another one of these momentums, like 7 unanswered goals now for Gold Coast.
And I said this earlier, I just don't think they've understood how Dean Cox wants to defend. They're really struggling to take that on and adapt it to the game.
Oh, Witch taps down to Miller. Perfect clearance. Miller for the Suns, kicks it into attack, 2-on-2. No mark in the pack. Ball to ground level. Roved by Graham of Gold Coast. Hands it to Miller. Miller off a step from 40. Hits the post.
And not because he hit the post yet, but he's had a massive third quarter. It feels like he has. Anyway, Pricey, you got numbers there for me for Took?
He's got 7 disposals, 3 centre bounce clearances, Took Miller.
16 points the lead to Gold Coast.
So Roberts plays on, has a bounce, gets a handball off to Blakey, who runs up to the arc at left half back for the Swannies. Puts the kick to the outer wing. That's a good juggling effort there. Well done, Will Graham. Comes back in. It's with Dan Rioli now, just behind centre wing on the outer side. Now they're holding the ball up, the Suns, as they share the ball around with Noah Anderson. He's standing at the base of the centre square. Now he's going to go back out to the outer side. Too easy. Finds Sam Collins on centre wing, just inside the boundary, puts it forward 15 metres to find Ainsworth. So they're being methodical now and holding onto the ball, the Suns. Flanders leads out to right half forward, drops what he should have taken, still has plenty of time though. 60 metres out, puts it to the top of the square. Big pack of players, off hands. Walter tracks the ball over the boundary line in front of Rampy. There'll be a throw in the right forward pocket.
By the way, the game at the MCG is not too far away. We will keep you up to date with Carlton and Geelong. If you're with us through the West, we'll take you there once we finish here. But of course, you can tune in right now on the ABC Listen app. Look for the red and blue AFL button. No late changes there at the MCG for the Blues and the Cats. Boundary throw in. Swans deep in defence, but Heaney finds a way through, wins the crumb, has a bounce, and kicks Sydney out of immediate danger towards the wing. Great one-handed pickup from Hanley on the run. Hands it infield to Lloyd. Lloyd hands it to the wing for Francis. Francis kicks around the boundary line. Hayward spoiled. Great close from Jeffrey to punch it over the boundary line. What's Will Hayward done today? The answer's not much, but I'm sort of asking that question to get specifics, Michael.
He's had 6 disposals.
6 disposals.
And 0% kicking efficiency for the 4 kicks he's had. So he's been under enormous pressure.
That's not a good stat, is it, Pricey?
No, it's not. It's not great.
Wow.
Ineffective. As off the stoppage, Noah Anderson gets the clearance. Handball speculating back into the corridor. Flanders tracks it back. Cut off there by James Jordan. Now it's bursting onto it. Rogers gathered, chips it into the pocket. Ethan Reid takes the mark 20 out. He was tempted to handball over the top to Walter, who says, "Settle down, Ethan. Go back and have a ping." He's only on a slight angle to the right.
I think you're a bit nice there, Pricey. I think Walter was saying, "Give me the bloody ball," and Reid was saying, "No, mate, I need to stay in the team next week. I haven't done a bit."
I've had 3 touches. I need this one.
Well, they know each other pretty well, don't they?
Yep.
Well,
same club,
both products.
Academy together, yeah.
Palm Beach Currumbin, the footy factory. So Ethan Reid to put his name on the scorebook. He just poked at that and it went left, one behind. So 77 plays 60. It's out to a 17-point lead for the Suns. 26 gone, third term.
It's only 17 points, but Sydney has not kicked a goal since the 21-minute mark of the previous quarter. This one's now 26 minutes old. Gold Coast have kicked 7 goals since, so the Swans need to try and change the game. Riley Bice decided to have a running bounce from the restart. He lost the bounce coming back to him second time. Suns have got it. King under pressure. Hand pass. Florent tried to clean it up. Miller tackled him. Rowbottom does clean up. Swans are just going to get out of this. Hand pass to Roberts. Hand pass to Bice. Bice's kick marked by Campbell in the middle of the ground. Chips wide to the Nerang River side. McInerney gathers the bouncing ball. Hands it back to Campbell. Hands it back to McInerney. Does it find the target? No. Bounced in front of McInerney, he couldn't pick up. Big Grundy comes through. 3 Suns around him. The man bun is squished by 3 red jumpers. and a ball up.
As much as that was very, very ugly, and you called it very correctly, Q, at least Sydney tried to speed up their ball movement. They've adjusted.
Umpire throws it up. The Suns, it's towed out of the pack, back towards centre wing. Walters explodes onto it, did well, gathered handball off to Rogers. He looped a handball in front of Touk Miller. It bounces around his ankles, so he gathers, gives it back to Rogers. 80 from goal, pops it up, looking for Reid, spoiled away from him. Swans with the numbers, and it's going to be held up. Roberts tackled into the ground, the ball stuck underneath him, about 40 away from the Suns' goal. They're leading by 17 points, 27 and a half gone of this third term.
Well, they can't sub in Aaron Francis for a last quarter comeback. He's played the whole game. And Tom Hanley's already out there for the Swans. No clearance from that stoppage. Rampy was locked up. Tossed in the air. Suns 40 from their goal. Grundy palms down. Lloyd on hands and knees gets the clearance. Hand passes to Bice. Left foot kick from defensive 50. High to the wing. Collins on the hammer of Laddams. Able to knuckle it towards the boundary line and out of play. So if you are just tuning in, Quentin Hull, Michael Price, Jamie Stanton and Matt Primus in the box. Zane Bojack on the boundary. Sydney led by 25 points at quarter time. They were out by 29 close to half time. Suns got the last 2 goals of the second quarter. It was Sydney by 17 at half time, but now Gold Coast lead by 17. Quite the swing in this game, and Gold Coast win the stoppage crumbs. Flanders out on half forward, hands it back to Hewlin. Hewlin hands it forward again. Miller receives, hands it to Rioli. 60 out, it's a dart, and King takes it. Thank you very much. What service from Dan Rioli to the leading forward, who marks the Sherrin with his fingers in front of his eyes. 45 from goal.
Yeah, it just pulled them apart, didn't they? They're surgical. The way they're positioning at stoppage, the dangerous half-backs are getting it. Miller's dominating inside, and it's just pretty hard to defend if you're a Sydney defender down there. The ball is flowing freely.
Ben King's got 2 goals today. This would be for 8 in a row. 8 in a row for Gold Coast. 5 of them kicked in this term, 2 in the previous. King with his right boot. This is an onslaught from Gold Coast. Great finish. A 3rd goal for Ben King. And the Swans are slipping away in the sunshine at Carrara. Suns 12-11, 83. Sydney stuck on 9-6, 60. Zane Bojack.
Yeah, Q, you mentioned the sun. I just wonder whether or not it's not only the intensity that Gold Coast has brought to this third quarter, but also the fatigue and just perhaps the weather conditions affecting Sydney. They just look as though they're struggling when they come to the interchange gates in front of me, like they're really struggling with the heat, and they just can't get enough hydration.
There's a bit of that, Zane, and as I said, Jamie, there's a bit about the fact that even last year when they made the grand final, they went missing in games, the Swans. They were able to get out of it more often than not in 2024. It's not happening this year.
No, definitely not happening. And partially is their defensive set, but also their ball movement. We've spoken about this quarter. They can't move the ball very effectively at all. They're gaining a lot of touches, but it's all stat padding. Nothing, it's all backing around. There's absolutely no penetration or drive forward from them at all.
Umpire didn't recall that bounce, which was dodgy, and Noah Anderson intercepted a hand pass from Heaney. Now at ground level, Rao picks it up. Suns on fire at the moment. Handball over to Weller, who puts it inside 50. Melican did well to charge at the ball, but it bounced off his knees. Couple of Suns there to pick it up, and Melican wraps one of them up, holds him up.
Just on those numbers, the possessions are virtually identical, 78 to 74, but it's 14 to 3 clearances. It's 17 to 5 inside 50s. It's just one team's just dominating with ball in hand compared to the other.
Right half forward for the Suns. Here's another clearance. This one for Matt Rowell, who puts it inside 50. Oh, juggling effort, Ethan Reid in front of a very experienced Dane Rampy. Takes the mark. 40 out. He's on a slight ankle to the right, the young fella.
Yeah, and this will please him. Reid's had this quarter. He didn't do much in the first half, but he's actually shown some glimpses here and starting to get his hands on the ball and affecting the game when it goes inside 50. And we know Walters had a pretty good game himself along to complement King. It's a pretty potent forward three the Suns have there.
Clearance is 15 to 3 to the Suns in this quarter. The inside 50's 18 to 5. Leading in all aspects as Ethan Reid looking for his first goal. Once again leans back and pushes it wide, only the one behind. But that will take a 24-point lead for the Gold Coast Suns into three-quarter time. They trailed by 17 at half-time. 12-12, 84 to the Suns to 9-6, 60. They have scored 6 goals, 6 to the Swans, 1 behind in that quarter.
Some turnaround here at Carrara and real concerns for the Swans, who are now on the brink of a 2-win, 5-loss record, whereas Gold Coast looking to bounce back and stay among the pace setters after their first loss last weekend. Goal kickers for Gold Coast: Jed Walter with 3 goals. Bailey Humphrey has 3 goals. Ben King has 3 goals. That's 9 of the 12. Dan Rioli's kicked 2. Ben Long has 1. And that's correct weight on Gold Coast's 12 goals. For Sydney, Chad Warner with 2 goals. Braden Campbell with 2 goals. Singles to McLean, Heaney, Jordan, Laddams and Corey Warner. So that score progression again. Sydney by 25 at quarter time. Sydney by 17 at half time. But Gold Coast kicked the last 2 goals of the second quarter and then kicked another 6 unanswered in that third term. 6 goals, 6 to 1 point. 6-6 to 1 point in the third quarter. Gold Coast 12-12-84. Sydney 9-6-60. Carlton and Geelong has just got underway at the MCG. Blues have got an early point there. No late changes. Looks like an overcast day in Melbourne, but fine conditions for football. Call available on the ABC Listen app. If you're with us through the West, you'll be taken there once we wrap things up here. In the National Rugby League, we're into the second half in Canberra, and the Dolphins lead the Raiders 28 points to 16. 12 minutes played second half. Dolphins 28, Raiders 16. Those of you here on the Gold Coast, you'll take the rest of the Sunday afternoon Rugby League coverage, which will roll into the West Tigers taking on Cronulla a little bit later on today. And if you're with us on News Radio, well, you can always hear all of those games via the ABC Listen app. Red and blue button for the AFL, green button for the league. 3-quarter time, Gold Coast leads Sydney by 4 goals. This is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
Hello, Patrick Stack here. Do you like sport and good conversation? Then we've got a great podcast for you. One cracking story, in depth, every day, in under 15 minutes. It's called ABC Sport Daily, and you can find it on the ABC Listen app.
This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
Long takes it on the arc. He's got a man by himself. It's King. Puts it to the pocket, finds him. From 20 metres out, he pokes at it, but it's straight enough. He gets his second. And the Suns get their first of the third term. Flanders kept running. Handball received. Outside of the right boot as he got belted. It's down the field, methinks. Yes, it is. Umpire's called it. Walter from 35 strikes that one. It's nice. The Suns get a good start to this third term. Another goal to them.
Powell has a go for Gold Coast. Hasselboffed it by Hayward. Over the head. Advantage taken. Rioli runs to 30. Rioli puts Gold Coast in front. Dropped by Witts in the centre of the square. He picks it up though. Cleans up his mess. Hands it to Miller. Miller's kick to the pocket. Long takes the mark. Long looking to make it 10 with a beautiful kick which judges the wind perfectly. And the Suns have now kicked the last 6 goals in the game. Miller receives, hands it to Rioli, 60 out to Dart. And King takes it. Thank you very much. What service from Dan Rioli to the leading forward. King with his right boot. This is an onslaught from Gold Coast. Great finish.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Oh, the story developing here at Carrara. Hope you're enjoying your Sunday at the football with us on ABC Sport. My name is Quentin Hull, where the story is this Suns team is, well, looking like it's about to bounce back from its poor performance against Richmond last week and work its way to a 5-win, 1-loss record. And Sydney, the perennial finalists in the last couple of decades in the AFL, beaten grand finalists last year, new coach at the helm. It's just a given that Sydney make finals, but boy, they've got a big mountain to climb if they can't win this game, and 2-5 is really staring down the Swans. They're in the huddle at the moment, getting instructions issued by new coach Dean Cox. 4 goals the lead to Gold Coast with a quarter to play, and the Suns have kicked the last 8 goals in the game. Suns 12-12, 84, Swans 9-6, 60. MCG games underway. Geelong 1 straight 6 lead, Carlton 1 behind. But let's spend a moment or two here. Jamie Stanton and Matt Primus. Wow, what are we going to see in this last half an hour? I'm really intrigued to see what the Swans can do here. They got going a bit against Port last week, but that was off the back of the sub of Francis coming into the game. But that's not available for Dean Cox this week.
Well, unless they get even contest at the ball, this scoreboard could blow out big time. They got dominated around the contest, and then the Suns' ability to run and spread and link up, and their forward 6 made them pay. But if they can't at least break even down there, this scoreboard could balloon out. Whatever it is in a row now, it could double very quickly. Their backs look very vulnerable, and the Suns' midfielders look full of run. Their wings and half-backs and inside mids, especially Tuke Miller, are outstanding. So, yeah, an important 30 minutes for Sydney, but a great one for the Suns here to really make a statement.
And I'm looking to the Swans midfield here. The experience of Warner, Rowbottom and Heaney, they have to put a stamp on this and take ownership of their season.
Can the Swans stop the rot, or will the Suns charge back into the winner's circle? Michael Price on Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
Jared Witts gets it down into the path there of Humphrey. Can't quite pick it up, but his body did enough, and he'll get the free kick for some high contact. Makes an impact, does Bailey Humphrey. He's adjacent to the centre circles. A typically long bomb to the very dangerous spot. Back of the pack, King. Couldn't quite double grab, but he goes back and takes it off the ground. Handball to Rao. Rao snaps. Oh boy. Another one for the Suns. 30-point lead, if you don't mind. 13-12-90, plays 9-6-60 with only 30 seconds gone of this final term.
Yeah, well, there's your first centre bounce goal for the Suns, but just being able to, what the Swans did in the first quarter, just getting in and under and winning the free kicks in the first possession since half-time, that's what Gold Coast have done to them. And as we keep mentioning, their forward 6 are as dynamic as anyone in the competition, and they're just getting so many looks since the second half. They're nearly 20-5 inside 50s in the second half, and they're making them pay nearly every time it goes in there.
And that's coming off the back of their clearance dominance. They're 14-3 in the third quarter. They've started 1-0 now. But it's the way the Gold Coast explode from stoppage and the way they use it from stoppage, which is impressive. They used to win clearances, but they'd be rubbish, kicked high, long. At the moment, they explode very quickly and get a really nice inside 50 off the back of it.
9 goals in a row for Gold Coast. Centre bounce. Anderson has got away from Rowbottom there to win the clearance. Rush kick to half forward, intercepted by McInerney. Hand pass out the back. Pressured kick from Florent, but he got it to the wing for Rowbottom. Rowbottom turns over his kick. Rioli marks defensive side of the wing for Gold Coast. Kicks in field. His skipper's there. Anderson takes the mark. Noah Anderson been pretty well held today. That's possession 19. It's a wide kick back to Rioli, who's a metre or two in from the boundary. True centre wing, not far away from the interchange area. Called to play on. So Rioli runs hard around the boundary line, kicks a long ball into attack. Big pack, off hands, Heaney Robes. Sydney's ball, hand passes to Rampy. Rampy's clearing kick is straight to Sam Collins. He plays for the opposition. Collins takes the mark for the Suns in front of the wing.
It looked like that, didn't it?
Every player on the paddock in front of the centre circles as Collins puts it into the left forward pocket. Off hands, back of the pack, Brodie Grundy roving, and he just ambled over the boundary line. They're appealing for deliberate. Crowd wanted it, but nothing doing. It's going to be a throw in.
So's Josh Drummond in the assistant's chair. The Gold Coast coaches box, a couple to our right, and Joshy Drummond was gesturing.
Just having a look at Noah Anderson off the ball, and James Jordan nowhere to be seen near him. He started with a couple of possessions in this quarter. Off the hands, it's a contest. Rowbottom driven into the ground by Walter. Ball stuck underneath him. Rowbottom gets up nice and sore. Umpire comes in, throws it up. Witts versus Grundy. Witts down to Rowell. Rowell away from the traffic. Handball back to Holman. Off a step. Holman kicks another for the Suns. 10 in a row. 10 goals in a row. 14-12-96. Plays 9-6-60. A 36-point margin. This is getting ridiculous for the Swans now. Only played 5.5 minutes of the final term.
And this is a big news story. A big news story. Sydney don't have any. You asked us at half time, did Gold Coast have a plan B? At the moment, your question was valid about Gold Coast, but it's Sydney that don't have a plan B. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to stop the rot. They don't know how to play man on man. They don't know how to press up. They don't know how to move the ball. They're really struggling. It's like an 18s game versus adults, really.
I'm stunned. I'm stunned, Stan. 10 goals in a row. They don't even look like stopping it.
And they were creditable against Collingwood. They came late against Port, but they're getting flogged here, Sydney. Centre bounce. Oh, Rao reeks, gets a handball clear, but it's stolen. Row bottom for Sydney. No one there. He just hands it forward. Rioli pinches it. Gold Coast bowl. Hand pass to Weller. Weller backwards to Andrew. From centre half back, kick to the wing. Rampy makes a spoil, but Jeffrey's there to row for the Suns. 80 from goal. Swearing kick to full forward. King! He's taken the mark. He was sandwiched between two Sydney defenders, but Ben King had about as much of it as Isaac Rankin did the other week here. But they paid that one. Too soon?
Don't mention
No.
Too soon?
Yes.
Ben King's taken the mark, and he will try and make it 11 goals on the bounce for the Suns. And the assignment, slightly right. Man on the mark, 30 from goal. Ben King has 3. Ben King has 4. Just he squeezes it in as it weaved towards the far left upright. 11 goals in a row for Gold Coast against the Swans. Wow. The lead's now 7 goals. King with 4. Gold Coast 15-12-96. Sydney 9-6-60. Zane Bojack.
I'm probably going to completely change the momentum here, but Q, if we get to 13 goals in a row, can you do like a Hutto style 13?
I do my own stuff. But I get what you're saying.
You there, Zane?
Sorry, mate, it's been a long weekend.
No, it's all good. I just can't believe it. You can just see it down here. The Swans, they just cannot, they are stunned themselves.
Well, we're all a little stunned in the commentary box here. They have stopped as anything you've ever seen the Swans. At the back of the stoppage, Rowbottom kicks it to centre half forward. Heaney, monstered there by Hewlin, spoiled the ball. Rao was front and square holding the ball. Good tackling. So it was a combination of Isaac Heaney and Cleary. Cleary's the one who's awarded the free kick. He goes across the arc and finds Riley Bice. 55 out. A little chip pass. McInerney, he missed it. Picks it up though. Plenty of time to have a go. Bounce pass towards Ladders, who gathers in the pocket. Handball was turned over. Noble gave it to Rioli, who just hacked it out. It's landed once again in the arms of Riley Bice at right half forward for the Swans. He's 65 out, shielding his eyes from the sun. Kicks it to the top of the square, looking for McLean. Used his body early, couldn't quite get the double grabber. Heaney gathered, was tackled into the ground. Ball stuck under several bodies, 35 out, and will get a ball up.
7 minutes played, final term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Quentin Hull, Michael Price, Jamie Stanton, Matt Primus and Zane Bojack with you. Grundy with the tap. He punches it towards the goal mouth. Campbell picks up for the Swans. Got a hand pass to Cleary. Tried to get a boot to it. Stolen, though, by the Suns. Weller's rush clearance, though. It's been marked by Lloyd. 55 from goal. The Swans can go back into attack. Lloyd's kick is looking for Heaney. Hewlin was with him. Weller read it. Weller marks in front of that contest. Plays on. Has a bounce. Hands it to Noble, who can't gather it at half back. Stolen by Rowbottom of the Swans, 60 from goal. Hands it to Corey Warner. Corey Warner kicks it out on the full. Free kick to Gold Coast in the right back pocket. And Bodie Hewland will take the free kick.
Too easy for him to walk away, basically, with Heaney standing way off the mark. Long kick towards the wing, off hands, nicely done from Jordan to Rampy. Rampy's left foot to a dangerous spot. Going back with the flight was McLean, couldn't take it. At the base, Heaney gathered, tackled into the ground by Rioli, 20 metres out, ball stuck underneath. The umpire will come in and ball it up. Some tired players now. All of a sudden can't believe it's a 42-point margin. Absolutely astounding. 17 points was the margin in favour of the Swans at half time. Umpire throws it up. It's stuck underneath several. It's getting really scrappy at the top of the goal square, and we'll do it all again.
Cats 2-1-13, Blues 1-1-7. That one's early on at the MCG. Swans deep in attack, looking to stop this right. Weller roves the tap though. Rush clearance for Gold Coast. Lloyd's going to get a free kick for Sydney. He was tangled with Rogers there, so Jake Lloyd's a chance to put the Swans back into attack. 60 from goal. Lloyd sets it up, looking for Laddams to get there, but Holman gets in the way. Holman takes the mark, called to play on, so he runs to the pocket. Nick Holman with the exiting left foot kick. Very wide, setting a task of Humphrey. It bounces in front of he and Florent and out of play. I'll tell you what, we've still got 2/3 of this quarter to get done, but there's some very tasty Northern derbies coming up next week. A Sydney derby between the Giants, who go to the SCG to play the Swans, and then the Suns and the Lions. Is it the biggest Q clash ever next week?
Oh yeah.
Might be. Both teams likely to go in the top echelon of the ladder, or sharing top spot with Collingwood. Witt's got a free kick from the throw-in, chips it short to Rioli. Rioli takes the mark. Sydney don't look like getting back into this.
They don't, and
Campbell makes a spoil on Noble, chop of the arms, free kick.
They're just defending a lot of one-on-one, where the first half they weren't, but now it's just one-on-one, and the Suns' ability to run is just giving them easy ball.
Noble topping the possession count for the Suns, kicks it long inside 50, over the top of King, at the back. Blakey, the left foot. This extracting kick finds Corey Warner. In the left back pocket for the Swans, under siege. He handballs it off to Jordan. Jordan goes the underground handball, looking for Rowbottom. Oh, don't call, please. Oh, thank you. I thought the umpire was going to call that deliberate. It was just a really ordinary handball that went over the boundary line and throw in next to the interchange gates. As Jamie Stanton and Matt Primus giggle.
You were starting to warm up. You were starting to warm up.
Oh dear, you were just a little one there. Throw in across the arc. Witts versus Grundy's been a fascinating battle all day. At the base of the pack, it was Graham who got it out to Anderson. A little slow to react, and ball jolted out of his arms. Rowbottom back to Lloyd, back to Roberts, back to Lloyd, back to Roberts. At left half back, the left footer towards the wing, floating across the front. Jeffrey couldn't take it through his hands. Collins did gather. Handball back to Jeffrey. He's looking back into the middle. Ainsworth's made his way to centre half forward. Still inside the centre square.
Ainsworth, it just takes a moment to assess before pulling the trigger on another forward entry, which is a right boot, pretty much down the corridor, read by Lloyd. Well done. Lloyd takes the mark for Sydney. Reid was the target there, but it didn't get to him. Lloyd with a short pass. Roberts marks. Shorter centre half back. Kicks to Chad Warner on the edge of the centre square. Plays on. Kicks to half forward down the corridor. McInerney there to mark. 65 from goal. Hands it back to Campbell. Evades the tackle of Jeffrey. Left foot kick from 50. No, hasn't broken the run of goals. He's kicked a point. So still 11 goals in a row for Gold Coast, but that's just Sydney's second score of the second half, and it's a second point. And what are we, 12 and a half minutes into the final term, 41 the lead to the Suns.
So it's Collins who gathers the ball from Rioli. He's going to go to the outer wing. Holman, who's done some very tidy things as the Suns have gathered the ascendancy here. He puts a pass out to the lead of King, a long way up the ground, forward of, the
50.
And he's actually gone across the mark there. You can see it. The carton.
Yeah, he came off after hadn't been called play on, and she's unlucky because King had played on, but
you got to wait till the umpire says it. Yeah, so King, who took the mark just forward of centre wing on the outer side, and now McCartan's got to take his mark 30 metres out, slight angle to the left, and Ben King, who's already got 22 goals for the year. He's got 4 today. Shooting for a bag. Sydney Swans fans already finding the exits. You listen to the crowd go off if Ben King can put this one through. Boys lean back on it. He pops it through. Carrara erupts as Ben King gets one for the thumb. 16-12, 108 to 9-7, 61. It's a 47-point lead here at Carrara, 13 gone final term.
There are 7 Sydney Swans players without a touch in the last quarter, but there are only 4 Sydney Swans players with tackles registered in the last quarter. So they're not winning it, they're not tackling, they're not putting pressure on. At the moment, they're witches' hats.
Hey Zano, have you got a line to Peyton Pending? I might have to go there in a minute. It's 12 in a row.
Oh, well, mate, I don't want to put the pressure on you. And you know what? You're the most original bloke I know, Q. You wear that bald head that you've got the best of any baldy I've ever seen. So you go wherever you want. Connor Buderick is being subbed in, guys, and we're going to see Jake Rogers come out of the game.
Thank you, Zane. It's getting a bit loose here. But
16 shots to 2 since half.
Oh, the Swans have been abominable.
Yep.
And I don't think Gold Coast has really had to produce any super special stuff. Chad Warner with a tackle on Flanders, lock it up. That's the question. How good the winners, how bad the losers? And we'll break it down for you. But this, Swans fans are looking for a reason to think we can get back into the September fight. They've got no reasons from that today. Cleary wins the clearance though for Sydney. And there's going to be a free kick. Free kick to the Lizards. I know he's going to ruin your day.
Oh, it's a goal now.
And a 50-metre penalty. So after 12 in a row, the 13th is a Swans goal. Blakey from the goal line ends a run of 12 goals for the Suns. And finally, Sydney's got something to show in the major column in this second half. Blakey, what's that? His first of the day. 10 now for Sydney, 16-12, 108 to 10-7, 67. Meanwhile, at the MCG, Geelong 2-1-13, lead Carlton 1-2-8.
And I don't want to criticise coaches because I know how hard it is, and Matty clearly knows how hard it is as well. But we are now they've had 12 goals in a row. Nick Blakey's been thrown forward in the 15th minute mark of the fourth quarter. Aaron Francis thrown back. Could we have potentially produced a few more magnet moves slightly earlier to try something? The game's lost, but just to try something, see what's going to happen.
So that's the first Swans goal since the 21-minute mark of the second term. As Q said, abominable from the Swans as Bailey Humphrey exits with power from the stoppage, kicks it inside 50, ball hits the deck, and Ben King toes it off the deck. It's out of bounds on the fall as he went to gather it. So it's going to be a Swans free kick. Francis takes it and immediately goes back in board to Warner. Chad, it gets kicked straight up the middle. Noble, well, play on. Well, it was punched out of his hands. It's in the centre circles now. It's a contested ball, and it's a good tackle that's taken. Joel Jeffrey has taken his opponent down very well, and Will Hayward has been unsighted today in the centre circles.
Right in the middle of Carrara, thrown in the air. Reid and Laddams tangle. McInerney comes away for Sydney. Hand pass to Heaney, who was dynamic in the first quarter, has gone missing since. Kicks inside 50. Andrew does well to pick up under pressure from Blakey. Hands it to Noble. Noble's tackled. And we'll see a ball up. Hanley there to apply the lock. So Sydney with Greater Western Sydney to play at the SCG next week. As Laddams, clean possession from the ruck. Can't get a disposal away though. Noble picks up for the Suns. Flips a hand past boundary side. Hoping for Anderson to beat the battle for Heaney. Does enough for Willer to pick up. Weller's holding the ball. Corey Warner's tackled him. Good tackle, Corey Warner. Free kick. Yep, so the Giants go to the SCG and the Suns go to the Gabba to play the Lions. It's a public holiday Monday. One of the things that Queensland does do properly, they has Labor Day near Labor Day in May. And it's a holiday next Monday. So that's a Sunday night game. Corey Warner from 45 metres out. Kicks to a pack. McLean the target. Can't take the mark. Ball to deck. Swooped on by Jeffrey of Gold Coast, but his hand pass is out of play. Yeah, you can have all thoughts about they don't do daylight saving properly. They don't do it. But they do Labor Day properly, Zano, don't they?
Yeah, they certainly do, Q. We've seen the sub rescinded, and Connor Buderick's actually put his Guernsey back on the sub Guernsey, and we're going to see Jake Rogers come back out again.
There you go. Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. Off hands. It's picked up there by Campbell. He's tackled immediately. Ball hits the deck. It's just a real scramble in the left forward pocket for the Swans here. Picked up by Flanders, who just hacks a torpedo out, and it goes over the top of the pack. Walters did well. Wore the bump from Francis. Oh, and Roberts wore a beautiful bump from Ben Long. He dropped the ball. Francis is over the top of it, tackling it. Actually, it's just Pancake Head stacks on the mill, and the crowd wanted all kinds of free kicks. They're not getting any of them.
I wouldn't mind seeing Ben Long versus a Dodgem car because, two very proficient bumpers.
Oh, nicely played, Kev. That's original. I do like that. It's a free kick. It's going to go to Laddams. It's a block in the ruck contest against Wits, so Laddams right in front of the commentary box.
41-point margin 20 minutes into the last term. We're getting to that territory. Laddams' long kick. Andrew tries to juggle out the back, can't mark. Picked up by Powell of Gold Coast. Hands it to Rioli. Looks forward, hand passes backwards to Noble. Boy, those two have made a massive difference. Noble chips to the back pocket and Weller takes the mark. There's just no panic.
No.
The two highest possession getters for the Suns, John Noble, Dan Rioli.
Leg speed, meters gained, all those sorts of things, outstanding.
Weller kicks long to the wing, off hands, Flanders does the roving, hands it to one of those duo again, that's Noble. He's going to kick it 25 metres backwards. Mac Andrew takes the mark. Still got plenty of bandaging on that left shoulder, Mac. Kicks to centre half back, does Mac. Marked by Ainsworth. Kicks it down the corridor. Rao flies one-handed. Can't take the mark under pressure from Milliken. Roved though by the Swans. Roberts got it to Cleary. Cleary to Chad Warner. Chad Warner kicks deep to the pocket. Blakey's got two to beat. The rove is fortuitous. He roves well. He snaps well. 2 in a row for Blakey. 2 in a row for the Swans. And the Lizard licking his lips with a couple of late goals. 35 points the lead to Gold Coast at 16-12, 108 to Sydney's 11-7-73. And we at quarter time at the G yet? No, not yet. Low scoring first term there. Geelong and Carlton, 2-2-14 apiece. About 3 minutes left in that first quarter.
There's a lot of fans exiting the stands here because unfortunately this last quarter has been a bit of a bomb, and both teams now are just running training facilities at the moment. This is just how can we quickly make some ball movement happen and trial different things. Mac then went for a kick inside the corridor, which is what Gold Coast are looking to do, but it was a 60-metre kick inside the corridor, which can be quite hard to nail.
So 35 points the margin. Secondary bounce coming up. That one went a little askew from the central umpire.
Meanwhile, the Raiders have come back. There's about 5 minutes left in that NRL game, Pricey. Canberra 32 lead the Dolphins 28. About 5 minutes left.
So there's been a whistle on play, and this is what has happened here.
Well,
there's something. The goal umpire's actually come out, and it's a 666 infringement by the looks of things. The goal umpire came out and had a chat. So it's going to come back. Laddams in the centre circles will take the free kick for the Sydney Swans. He peels onto his left foot, straight down the middle. Blakey let out and double-chested that one. It basically fell into his breadbasket and bounced out, and he grabbed it again. I don't think he was expecting it, but he took it, and he can shoot for his third goal from about 40 metres on the slight angle to the left. Confusing passage of play. So Nick Blakey from 45 pops through his third.
Still to Francis, 3 in the last turn.
A little bit of respectability back to the Swans scoreboard in front of 18,034 fans here. The Suns 108 lead the Swans 79. Zane Bojak's on the boundary.
Is there anything in the Bible about the Lord giveth and taketh away and then giveth again? Because we're about to see Connor Budrick come back on, and I can tell you he's been subbed for Jake Rogers, who has already gone back out on the field. I don't know how that works, but anyway, we'll see what happens. It's the same sheet of paper. They just took it back and then handed it in again.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that works. Once you're subbed out, thought you were subbed out. Anyhow. Too late, too little though, Sydney. They're able to win the ball when the game's dead and buried. Where was this fight and leadership the last 40 minutes? It's a really disappointing 2.5 quarters from Sydney.
Yep. Conceded 11 in a row against, but they've kicked the last 3. Centre bounce, Chad Warner needed almost out of the clearance. Didn't really get beyond the chop. Picked up by the Suns. Powell's having a bit of a run in the middle. Hand pass hoping for Miller. Cleaned up by Rao. Rush kick inside 50 for Gold Coast. Gathered by Francis at full back for Sydney. Hand pass to Roberts, hands it to Heaney. Heaney hands it to Lloyd under pressure. He's put off his kick. Ricochet to Reid of Gold Coast. He's under pressure. Hands it to Lloyd. Lloyd tackled by Humphrey. put his whistle to his mouth, decided not to blow it, now does. Ball up. Official crowd, yep, 18,034. 18,034 in to see the Suns snap a 3-game losing streak against the Swans. Chad Warner with the clearance from half-back, but a rush kick intercepted by John Noble.
Disposal number 28 coming up for John Noble. What a recruit he's been. We said it before. He and Dan Rioli just adding an extra dimension to the springboard defence. Joel Jeffrey receives it as he goes laterally to the right. Now it's a long kick towards right half forward for the Suns. The big pack off the fist of Laddams. It's rowed by Rowbottom. His handball's at the feet of Heaney, who did well to pick it up and give it off to Roberts. Roberts dropped it. Miss Feddingham dropped it as the tackler approached. Now it's a chance for the Suns. Ethan Reid. Heaney is still on the deck. It's basically struggling to get back up. A little hurt, is picked up by Flanders. Kicks it to the top of the square. Walter handled, but he couldn't quite pick it up. Francis now towed out to Laddams. Laddams takes the mark in the left back pocket for the Swans to relieve some pressure.
Left leg for Isaac Heaney. He's struggling to walk. Rowell almost intercepts the kick intended for Hayward on the wing. Hayward does well to gather. Hand pass turned over though. Jeffrey rides the tackle of Blakey to get a hand pass free to Butterick. Forward of the wing. Kicks Gold Coast into attack. 3-on-2. Whistle before the ball arrived. Free kick Gold Coast. Going to Bailey. No, it's going to go to Ethan Reid. Zane?
Yeah, just watching Heaney come towards me. He's in a lot of pain. Can't quite work out what the injury is, but he's struggling. They forgot to cross the 2-out queue. It's actually Ben Ainsworth who has been subbed out of the game, and it was a tactical substitution for Connor Butterick.
Thanks, Arno. We got it sorted in the end. Here is Ethan Reid. He's kicked 2 behinds today. I just wonder how long you've got Reid and Walter both in this team.
Yeah, I think they've got a luxury if one or two of them are fine, but yeah, it is a luxury while you're winning, getting gains and experience into him.
Tough angle to the right. He's pushed it across the face for a point. 30 points to lead to Gold Coast.
They don't have really anything underneath their VFL, but whether they think they might be too top heavy at times, with 3 of them, although they're athletic guys.
Long inbound from the Swans, but Ewland intercepts in the middle. Takes a nice mark, does Bodie Ewland.
He is an exceptional young footballer. Again, another local product, Bodie Ewland.
Quarter time at the G, Blues by a point over the Cats. 3-3-21 to 3-2-20.
Anderson, who worked his way back into the game. In fact, he's now the second highest disposal winner for the Suns. With 21, gives it to Noble, who's now on disposal 29. On centre wing, kicks it long inside 50. Francis presents and takes the defensive mark. Crowd don't like it, but he had enough of that. And he takes it just forward to the left back pocket. A lot of the sting gone out of this game. 30 points the margin. The Suns lead it.
Still 4 minutes of playing time left in the quarter. Short pass from Francis. Florent takes the grab. Just in a little pocket of sunshine. The shape of the roof of the grandstand just allows the sunlight to peep through there. And a good kick from Florent to right half back. Marked by Bice. Bice chips to McInerney. Marks his kick looking for Lloyd's, intercepted by Powell. Suns will go hard here. Powell chips it to Rogers. Marks hand passes to Miller. Miller hands it to the running Holman. Holman back to Rogers. He's 40 out now. Rogers gives it back to Holman. Holman gives it back to Flanders. 55 out. No pressure whatsoever. Turned like a semi-trailer. Kicks it to the top of the goal mouth. Rowed by Bailey Humphrey. Bailey Humphrey kicks the goal. Oh, that was poetry in slow motion. Bailey Humphrey has 4. And that stops the rod of 3 goals to Nick Blakey. Gold Coast back out by 6 goals, 17-13, 115 to 12, 79.
Only if you're a Suns fan. That was poetry in slow motion. Otherwise, it's torture to all the Swans fans in slow motion. And the whole second half for Swans fans, I think, has been in slow motion and absolute torture. Again, this game has totally taken the sting out of it, and Gold Coast are now just doing what they want, however they want. They can turn slow, they can move the ball slow, they can move the ball fast, they can do whatever they would like. This is a big talking point, Sydney, at the moment, and the way that their lacklustre performance. I spoke earlier about maybe they turned up with a bit of that Bloods culture. They've really lost that Bloods culture now.
So yep. Send out the warning for donations to the blood bank. No Kirky, no Jude Bolton, none of those guys today.
Need a few bags, as they say. Off hands now, Warner tugged off it. Picked up by Miller, got the 1-2 handball from the neighbouring Flanders. Miller back inside 50, well read by Francis, who took the defensive mark. On his chest in front of Ben Long. He wants to be very aggressive. Beautiful kick straight up the corridor, finds Chad Warner. He repeats the dose and puts it around the ankles of Hayden McLean, who did beautifully, and then he kicks it into the forward pocket, overcooks the kick, missed his target in Hanley. Will Powell gathers, easily gets around Blakey, and then delivers the kick too far through the hands of Roberts for the Swans, and that's a free kick to the Swans. It's a dead set push in the back to Campbell. It was picked up there by Roberts, kicks it back to centre half forward, over the heads in fact, towards McLean, through his hands to Hewland. For the Suns, back to Noble, back to Hewland in the back pocket. This is almost stopped to a walk, this game. Kicked it towards the outer wing. Lloyd did well for the Swannies. Turned it over though, as Holman put himself in. He's turned it over, very scrappy indeed. It's picked up there, handballed over to Rogers. He escapes, has a bounce. Chisels it straight into the bloke 2 metres away from him in row bottom. That was an ordinary kick to centre wing. Please take over, Q. Painful.
Chad Warner picks it up. It was a worm burner. Couple of bounces, hand pass bounces before Roberts has it. Just forward of centre half back, kicks it 2 metres into the man on the mark. Weller, turnover, hand pass to Flanders. Flanders to Miller. Miller 60 out, kicks it over Long's head. Long's got time to track back, gather. He turns Francis inside out. Francis slips over. Long snap is a point on the far side.
I reckon.
17-14, 116 to 12-7, 79. And just thinking, boy, the currency in the game at the SCG next week. Sorry, long inbound from the Swans to the middle.
If you were Bailey Humphrey in that last instance from Ben Long, he was out 20 metres out by himself, could have kicked 5. The ball stuck to the left of the centre circles. The umpire's going to ball it up.
So you've got the Giants thinking, we had 2 finals in the bag last year, one of them against Sydney at the SCG, and they got roughed up by the Dogs last night, and the Swans, who are going to be fighting for their season. That is going to be some scene at the SCG next week.
That's going to be a nice battle of the bridge, as they call them.
Unlike the Lions Suns game, which would be big, but there's big game history between the Swans and Giants. That's yet to happen for the Suns and Lions.
Inside 50 for the Swans, off the hands of McLean, well roved there by Corey Warner. Tries the outside of the left boot to try and find Hanley. It was fisted away by Powell. Hanley did well, tapped the ball back down, intercepted there by Dan Rioli. Handball over to Flanders, back to Bodie Hewland, doing as they please. He goes laterally to the right, and he's going to find Connor Buderick in the back pocket. Just escapes too easily away from McLean, and he puts it forward to McAndrew. Handball now to Buderick, who kept running, has a bounce, reaches the commentary wing. Second bounce, Cleary chased him down hard. It was kicked to the arc. Now it's contested at ground level. Humphrey to Miller. Miller under pressure, has a ping, one behind, 117, plays 79. So that is how's my maths going? 38-point margin.
And that'll be the final margin. With the siren sounding at Carrara, and Gold Coast has bounced back from its loss to Richmond. And the perennial September Swans are in danger of not making the 8 this year. They're in a big hole. Sydney today at one point conceding 11 goals in a row against. The Suns have won 17-15, 117 to 12-7, 79.
We are the mighty Gold Coast Suns. We play to win the flag for you. Fight, fight, fight till we hold on the cup. Run, run, run all the way. Hey! We are the sons of the Gold Coast sky. We're the team who never say die. Hey!
So Sydney led by 25 points at quarter time, and then 25 minutes into the second term, the Swans were 29 points in front. Gold Coast got the last 2 of the second quarter, and that was the start of a run of 11 consecutive goals. Sydney didn't kick another goal until 15 minutes into the last quarter. Gold Coast led by 4 goals at three-quarter time, and in the end, 38 points the margin. Suns 5-1, Swans 2-5, Gold Coast comfortably by 38 points.
We are the sons of the Gold Coast sky. We are one in the red, gold and blue. We are the mighty Gold Coast Suns. We play to win the flag for you. Fight, fight, fight till we hold on the cup. Run, run,
quick summary. Actually sold the Suns 1 goal short in that run. It was 12 in a row in the end, wasn't it, Michael? They kicked 12 goals unanswered before Nick Blakey kicked 3 in a row. And getting some news, apparently that's the first time in the Suns' history that they've kicked a run of 12 goals. So there you go. 17-15, 117 to 12-7, 79. Ben King with 5 goals. He's now got 23 for the season. Bailey Humphrey kicked 4 goals. Jed Walter kicked 3 goals. 2 goals to Daniel Rioli. Single goals to Nick Holman, Matt Rowell, Ben Long. Sydney's 12. Nick Blakey kicked the last 3. And he led the way with those 3. 2 to Chad Warner, 2 to Braden Campbell. And singles to Hayden McLean, Isaac Heaney, James Jordan, Peter Laddams and Corey Warner. We've got a pretty quick wrap-up here, only 4 minutes before we send our listeners in the west to the MCG, our listeners on the Gold Coast to the league, where, by the way, the Raiders have beaten the Dolphins. Canberra 40 beating the Dolphins 28. Tiger Sharks to come in just a moment. If you're with us on News Radio, you're heading back to the network, but you can head to the Listen app and choose whichever footy you'd like to hear from. Jamie and Matt, how did that go the way it did?
Well, a bit for me pre-game. I thought the Swans' form had been average all year, and while we spoke at half-time they had a method, that method they were playing was pretty hard, and the Swans, Gold Coast hadn't been very good at competing with them, but once they lifted their intensity, it just showed what we've seen so far of Sydney. They are just a long way off, for whatever reason it is. Like we were saying, maybe they're not listening to Coxey's, whatever his game plan is, but he's had a hell of a long time to implement that in, and he's been around the club for a long time, so it wouldn't be a lot of it new, it'd be some little aspects of it. So they just, they've got some concerns with injuries, but they just look a miles off the team in the home and away season we saw last year in all facets. Like they're not able to play 3 or 4. No team really plays 4 quarters of footy, but they can't even play 3 quarters of footy. They are one good quarter, whether it's home or away, and just super disappointing. Not even to roll your sleeves up and find something. They just got obliterated in the second half, like obliterated. That's like you would expect the West Coast or perhaps a North Melbourne or a young Richmond team to come up here and play like that in the second half, not a team like Sydney.
100%. And I think what's really interesting, as Q, you said at the start, is Gold Coast real? Is Gold Coast able to beat a team that's been around the block and has done this for so long? And we maybe have learned a little bit about Gold Coast. Yes, Sydney were very, very poor, but Gold Coast were not tracking very well up until halftime either. They were allowing Sydney to play this different game style that they were doing. So for Gold Coast to go in at halftime, listen to the messaging, and then come out and put a 12-goal run on, whether the opposition was good or not, is still something that they've never done before, which maybe is a step forward for them to showcase that maybe they could be a finals contender.
Before your votes, top 3 possession winners from either team. John Noble finished with 30 for Gold Coast, 24 for Tuke Miller, 21 for Dan Rioli and Sam Flanders. The top 3 for the Swans, Justin McInerney finished with 29, Matt Roberts and Jake Lloyd with 28. Sydney actually had more disposals in the end, +7. Trying to look at a key stat. Clearances +9 to Gold Coast in the end. Tackles were 51 each. Inside 50s were +4 to the Suns. Not a huge amount.
Did you say Sydney had more possessions?
Yeah, Sydney did have more possessions.
That's damning, isn't it?
They had 13 more possessions.
Yeah, that's damning with inside 50 count, the way it was. That's there's a few issues there.
90 seconds before we finish. Votes, please.
3 to Miller. I think he was the turning point, and he started to get the clearance ascendancy back on track. 2 to Dan Rioli. High metres gain, high possessions, but 2 really important key goals. And I think lastly is Bailey Humphrey. He's a barometer for the Gold Coast Suns, the way he plays, and he was on today, and sometimes he can be really off, but he had a ripper.
Thanks, Jamie. 3 to Tuke Miller, 2 to Dan Rioli, and 1 to Bailey Humphrey. So a couple of really big derbies coming up next week for these 2 teams, as mentioned. Giant Swans have already got grudge match written all over it because of their big game history and the last time they played.
What have the Giants lost, Q? How many have they lost in a row? 2 or 3?
A couple. Yeah. But they'll go in as favourites, you'd think, the way that the Swans are going. And then, first time that I think Q Clash is going to gain a lot of attention, with Brisbane and Gold Coast having just lost the one game each at the pointy end of the table. So at the MCG, second term's underway there. Carlton lead Geelong by 8 points. Those of you in the West are about to head there. In the NRL, the West Tigers Cronulla Sharks game is imminent. And on News Radio, you're heading back to Network. Wherever you're going, you can take your choice on the ABC Listen app. Thanks for your company at Carrara. Gold Coast by 38 points.